compiler of budget booklet published by KDOCA Association, delivered talks and seminars organized by various forums, and a contributor to various publications of WRC of SCI. And see, Vinod Avtani needs no introduction, sir. आपका resume नहीं है.
I'll just say I'm a partner with SS Gupta and Associates. So I'm in this field since more than 21 years. I'm regularly part of all of you.
At the outset, I am thankful for WRC for giving me this opportunity for sharing my thoughts on the topic issues in refund. As always, Vinod sir has given a lot of inputs in this to me. With this, let us start with the case study. This will be an entirely interactive session. I have prepared around 8 or 9 case studies are there. We will take one by one, and as and when you have any doubt or something, you can just. The first case study. ABC Limited is engaged in business of incense sticks, that is agarbatti. The turnover for the month of March 23 was that they have exported with availing the benefit of advance authorization 5 crores, without availing the benefit of advance authorization 10 crores. Local sale is 5 crores. So total turnover during the March 23 was 20. Was 20 CR. Everyone knows what is advance authorization, or I need to explain that. Advance authorization. What is advance authorization? Suppose I have product A. I am manufacturing product A. For that product A, I need 2 raw materials. Suppose one raw material is X and another is Y. I have to import that X from outside India, and this A product I am exporting out of India. So whenever you are importing that goods, you can import that goods under advance authorization, raw material X, with the condition that I will incorporate this X in product A and thereafter export the same thing. So there is a precondition you have to export that goods. Whatever raw material is that, after manufacturing in India, you have to export that thing. So that is basically advance authorization. In advance authorization, you don't need to pay import duty or IGST at the time of importation. So there is a this thing. So I have a raw material which I have imported under advance authorization, and that I have exported the goods. So in our case, that with advance authorization, I have exported 5 crore rupees. Without advance authorization, there is 10 crores. Local sale is 5 crores, and total turnover is 20 crores for the month of March 23. Similarly, thereafter, the ITC balance as on March 23 was 50 lakh rupees. So ABC applied for refund of March 23 under 89.4 in the month of April 24. So after 1 year, they applied under 18 for 37 lakh 50,000. Now department has came up with an show cause notice stating that the entire refund what you have claimed 37 lakh 50,000 is not eligible, since you are not claimed under 89.4B. You are claimed under 89.4. So everyone know what is 89.4 and 89.4B. So 89.4B. So these are the question whether the contention of the department is correct or no. On the second question, we will go thereafter. Once we will complete whether contention of the department I have to first file under 89.4B and thereafter I can claim under 89.4 is correct or no. Is the first issue. So that basically 89.4B. What is 89.4B states? In case supplies receives in case of supplies received on which supplier has availed benefit of notification, advance authorization notification 78. Refund of input tax credit availed in respect of inputs received under the said notification, export of goods and input service credit availed in respect of other input or input to the extent used in making said export shall be granted. Means if you are availing the benefit of advance authorization, then you have to go under 89.4B. This is one of the rules under which you have to claim refund. Correct? So whether this I have to compulsory claim under 89.4B or I can claim under any other rule is the issue. Because in question he has claimed under 89.4. He has claimed under 89.4. Department is telling you to claim under 89.4B.
Partially, it should be allowed under 89.4.
89.4.
Part refund it should be allowed, or which is not against advance authorization.
Okay. So, sir, according to you, out of the 37 lakh 50,000 part, suppose that 20 lakh is under 89.4B, so he should be granted 29.4B, under 20 lakhs under 89.4B, and thereafter balance under 17 lakh 50,000 under 89.4. Sir, any other contrary view on this?
So according to the 89.4, whatever definitions are stated of net reverse turnover.
Correct.
So when you are applying this, everything fits well. 89.4B is an option given that suppose if you are having a completely exports under or advance authorization, you can claim the refund there. And if you are claiming the refund there, then when you are claiming refund, here in 89.4, you have to deduct that much inputs. And there is no compulsion that if you are not falling under 89, if you are not claiming under 89.4B, then 89.4 में refund नहीं होना चाहिए.
So, madam is telling there is an optional. I can claim either on.
No, Barna, we can claim anyone, no? Yes.
I can claim.
Formula also, no? That formula. Other than already you claim under 18.4 or.
Yes, sir.
Correct.
So you're correct. Sir, that 89.4 specifically states that net ITC means input tax rate availed on input and input service during the relevant period other than input tax rate availed for which refund is claimed under 89.4 or 4B. So in our case, I have not claimed any refund under 89.4. So that deduction would be 0. So my entire claim would be under 89.4. That is allowed. Sir, any view on this?
No, this is the majority view. है ना? If you
There is a specific provision of 4B.
Yes, sir.
Then how can I be get refund of 89.4? Wouldn't that specific provision for advance authorization overrule 89.4?
So they should have stated that no, notwithstanding anything contained in like that under that, if you are claiming the refund under 89.4B, then you have to compulsory for under 4B only, not under 4. Like that, some provision should be there, no? So they are not stated like that.
But will we go under this then?
Sir, formula wise, sir, they have stated to the extent used in making such export. So whether this is required formula.
I have used common inputs for exporting goods with the benefit and without the benefit. How do I buy it? Like the formula given in 89.4.
Correct.
And this option is not there.
Not there. Correct.
That gets proportionally, you rotate.
Sir,
So
in
89.4B direct whatever inputs or input services will directly used in that
Yes.
export. Straight away you get the
Difficult to-
refund of 100% refund.
so this very issue was came up with the Gujarat High Court when Gujarat High Court stated that since there is no formula, you can go with standard input-output ratio, which you have to give at the time of advance authorization. So you can use that thing, standard input-output ratio, and you can claim under 89.4B.
Proper stock registration.
Yes.
Stock registration.
Yeah, fine. Just give me one.
will share that.
I will share that, madam.
Okay,
Gujarat
no
High Court. I don't remember
Then
the.
I कर देता हूँ. So
Sorry, your views on this?
consensus is, it appears that everybody is saying we need not go mandatory for 89.4B.
Okay.
Now, there is, if you see the background, why 89.4B was inserted? Did trade go and tell them कि सर मेरा ये एडवांस ऑथराइजेशन का एक्सपोर्ट है, इसमें मेरा क्रेडिट ज्यादा है, आप मुझे रूल में ज्यादा क्रेडिट 89.4 में कम आ रहा है, आई एम गेटिंग लोअर इन 89.4, therefore you give me an alternate mechanism. The answer is no. Nobody went there and asked for 89.4B. 89.4B came because government was of the view that people are taking exemption while importing and claiming refund out of old opening balance or other domestic credit and are getting higher refund. So I am not getting tax at the time of import, but when they are exporting out of that duty-free material, I am giving them more refund. I am giving them refund out of the domestic ITC also. That was the background of this. Therefore, restrictions came under Rule 9610. There was a restriction that you cannot pay tax on advance authorization exports. And restriction came in 89.4B and 4A. That was the background. Having said that, based on the background, they introduced these rules. But the actual rules which are introduced, there is no specific restriction, between 89.4 and between 89.4A or 4B. There's no interplay that these all are mutually exclusive. That provision is missing. That provision is missing. Intention was that we give refund only on actual basis, because on input you are not paying any tax when you import under advance authorization. So on export, why do I give you? Huh? IGST is not paid. IGST. Plus, even if I want to, IGST for import is not paid. But when I take export, and suppose this rule was not there, 4A or 4B was not there, I took the same export turnover into 89.4. So my total ITC which remained, on which I applied pro rata, it did not include that import ITC because I never paid tax. I never paid tax. So what was my ITC? Government was under a presumption that that ITC is majorly your either other exports or other domestic ITC. So because if I'm exporting other advance authorization, there is no ITC, specific ITC for that if I'm importing the raw material. And they said we don't want to give this particular facility. This rule also has a background because when Tran 1 credit came initially, as per their estimates, the amount of Tran 1 credit which came to the government and the refund which went, it crossed the limit. So they put this restriction. That was the background. This background is not hidden. It is there. It is understood. But while framing the rule, it is very surprising that they did not give a mutually exclusive criteria. So there's no specific restriction that if you go into 4B to that extent, while going into 4, of course you will reduce. But what if you don't go? Because the word in the rule is claimed and not claimable. Had the word been claimable, then it would have automatically become mutually exclusive. But if a litigation like this happens, whether the court will go by the intent or the court will go by the plain meaning. Of course, these show cause notices have started by the investigation wing on this particular issue, but not to a particular, we don't have a judgment of any higher level. But going by the draft or this, even though it may not be as per the, I feel we can say that 89.4 and 4B is optional, going by the parameter, because main section gives refund and manner is prescribed in the rules. So if I'm following the rules, I cannot be held at violating the provision merely because I'm following the rules. It is their rules which I am following. So my refund will not be treated as erroneous. That is my view. So you can treat this as 89.4A or 4B is not mandatory. You can bypass those rules and go under 89.4. That view is there to be tested in courts.
And one more thing, in the 54th council meeting, they have specifically stated one para. I highlighted that. There is no formula mechanism provided to calculate refund under 89.4 or 4B. The exporter may allowed to calculate admissible refund based on formula prescribed under 89.4 of the CGST rule. Further, for claiming the refund under this sub-rule, exporter is required to maintain separate account for inputs and inputs that are exclusively used for exported supply, which is against the principle of ease of doing business. So they themselves are telling in the 54th council meeting that we are not prescribed any rule for this, and for that for giving you have to under 89.4 you have to specifically give a this thing bifurcation to that extent used in exports under 89.4 you have to give. So they are telling it is against the principle of ease of doing business. So that's why under 18 from 8th of October 24 this rule has been omitted. 89.4B, 89.4 and 96.10 has been omitted from the statute. So coming to my next question, will your answer differ if the refund is claimed under December 24? Because this rule has came from October 24. This omission has been came with effect from 8th of October 24. So see whether this rule will apply for the refund claim filed after 8th of October 24.
No, at 89.4 will not be applied.
So suppose let us take an example.
For the period. Refund is for the period.
So there are two situations. One is my refund claim period. Relevant period is suppose May 24, and I have filed in December 24. Whether I have to file under 89(4)(b) or I have to file under 89(4) compulsorily, because there is no statute. 89(4)(b) is not there.
89(4).
89(4). Any other 89(4)(b)? And why under 89(4)(b)?
I'm filing
89(4),
the,
sorry.
so as on the date when I'm filing the refund claim, 4B is not prevalent. So if I take that stand, because even if the refund is recovered, say suppose if there's an advance refund, the refund is recovered from the date of the refund granted. So as on that date, whatever provisions were prevalent, so that will be taken into account. So
According to you, whatever law is there on the date of filing refund claim is irrelevant? Relevant. Any other contrary view on this? There is a judgment of maybe under this thing ki law prevailing on the date of refund claim has to be seen. Relevant period, at the time of relevant period. Because I do remember there is a judgment which states that formula was given under some this thing, and then formula they have changed under. So that application has to be seen at the time when the refund claim for the relevant period has been came. That was the old service regime.
And I think the inverted may be.
Inverted, then under inverted duty
So
structure
they gave a
89(5).
circular that if you file subsequently, will go
Yes.
under the new this thing karke.
So this is the circular.
When this formula had changed, now 1.5% has come under the rule. That time that circular had come that this will be applicable for all the refund applications filed post the amendment. So if you go by that circular, then post 4 October, 4B is not applicable at all.
also, can we take a stand the way it has been taken in 9610 that this provision is omitted with no saving clause in it?
Correct.
So can we also take that stand that this was never there in the rules?
In the statute. Okay. So going by that thing, I have filed a refund claim, suppose for the month of May 24, and September 24. And thereafter, a show cause has been issued to me in the month of maybe October, after this omission, stating that since 89(4)(b) is not there, you are strongly claimed your refund. We will reject the entire refund claim under 89(4)(b). So that would be because they are correct, no, because there is no saving clause. So 89(4)(b) is gone. So now you have to file under 89(4) only, compulsorily. Yes.
What I'm trying to say is, though I understand the circular is there, but the broad principle that I understand which should be there is if there is a law which was prevailing at the time when my refund claim was due, though I might have filed it late, then ideally that law provisions, if it is beneficial to the associate, it should be even applicable irrespective of even later on.
Yeah.
Here I need to do that, cost benefit analysis. It's better for me.
For that, there is a one judgment, direct judgment is there.
Hey,
For that.
entitlement is not in dispute.
Yeah,
It's only the manner,
correct.
is a mechanism.
Correct.
Entitlement is not in dispute. So once the rule comes, their manner is prescribed. And inverted may, why did they give you that benefit is because that was after Supreme Court pointed out that your formula is normally. So it was always treated as a beneficial.
Exactly.
Now, let us compare this in this situation also. So in this situation also, it is meant to be beneficial because they said we want to do ease of doing business. And therefore we have.
So then we can, then if
Then
it's, that's what
all
I'm
these
trying to say,
factors
that
we
if it's
can-
beneficial, then it is fine.
Then we can.
Otherwise, every time I cannot apply the same analogy.
Because your entitlement, it is only the manner of computation and not, the entitlement is not changing. So that is the only.
89 by the formula was also free. Here actually there is no change in
Change.
the rule. They are clarified कि ये तो कभी था ही नहीं इसमें.
And,
तो आप
and,
इसमें कर सकते.
and if,
But if that would have been detrimental to the assessee, what I'm trying to say is,
This is clarified.
vice versa. No, what she's saying is suppose 89(4)
मैं अपने file कर
may be beneficial to you. हो सकता है.
correct.
हो सकता है where you have where you are basically there is some domestic material also apart from import. There are some imports which is costly, but there are some domestic material also, and you want to claim full refund of that. You need not go for prorate. So that possibility is there. So there can we argue, then of course we have to go against our own this decision judgment की omission से कुछ फर्क नहीं पड़ता है. Sir मेरे को फर्क नहीं पड़ता है, बाजू वाले को होता होगा. हाँ? So I am immune to your judgment.
It depends on which case you are fighting.
Which case you are fighting. So therefore omission, ठीक है.
So the issue is whether this omission is prospective or retrospective. Depends upon the situation.
No, the word omitted and deleted do have emphasis in the law.
Correct.
So I think omitted means that section was never there. And deleted means it is deleted from the day
When it is.
when the.
So ruling, I think 9610. So
This is a AdRep Packaging Private Limited. There is a Gujarat High Court. Very good decision. Maybe to some extent, what they are telling, no, it is not coming out. But exactly what the decision is that this omission from 8th October 24 is prospective. First thing they have clarified is this is prospective. But whatever proceedings are pending, because there is no saving clause. We are omitting 89(4)(b) and there is no saving clause to that. So what they are telling ki any proceedings which are initiated by the department, all that would come to close because of the omission of rule 89(4)(b).
Now, should we apply this for all amendments? All amendments in rule.
Which is the case.
AdRep. On the
AdRep Packaging Private Limited.
as is raised basis.
That's the
नहीं, so, no, but this judgment had 2-3 factors. So if we see the reasoning, so they established that when you want to interpret any provision, you also have to see its intent. So first they came on the intent, that what was the purpose of deletion. So the purpose of deletion was, of course, to give benefit to the particular assessee. So that they have, in the beginning part, they definitely said that deletion rule doesn't operate retrospectively. So the High Court doesn't say deletion is retrospective. High Court says deletion is prospective. But since there is no saving clause, direct saving clause, so what is the impact of that is? The impact of that is that if there is any pending proceeding, this rule will not apply. If there is any concluded proceeding, you applied for refund, you got the refund. Neither you have appealed, neither department has appealed. That is a concluded proceeding. Department cannot reopen that proceeding based on this judgment. So based on this judgment, department cannot say कि आपको refund erroneous हो गया, हमको तो ये rule डालना ही नहीं था. That is not possible. But if there is any pending proceeding means either sanctioning of the refund or demand of erroneous refund, then you have to assume as if this rule was never there. So in that earlier case, we were discussing that, let's say this rule got amended in 8th October and you filed an application on 7th October. So on 8th October, this is pending. So if this judgment is applied by the department, they will never give you 4A or 4B. So that is also. So that was the logic given them. Of course, this will go to Supreme Court, and whether the government can argue that saving is per se inherently there in my law, or they make a retrospective amendment for saving clause, because saving clause is normally a procedural law to safeguard the interest and rights and privileges of both sides. So therefore, it is possible all these things can come. If this gets overruled, then the impact would be that this rule would be there up to that particular date, and future may it is not there. Now we go last one, assuming they give erroneous, what is quantum?
So this in nutshell, that Gujarat High Court stated that this is a 89(4)(b) is a 89(4) or 96(10) is a prospective amendment, but any proceedings pending in case of erroneous refund or erroneous, that is deemed to be closed. This was the precise observation of the High Court. And last question, one more question. Suppose assuming the department is correct in rejecting the refund claim, what will the quantum of erroneous refund if the department sanction the refund under 89(4)? suppose we have Supreme Court has a reversed decision and stated that you have to first follow 89.4b and thereafter claim under 89.4. So what is the quantum under 89.4b they would sanction?
89.4, no?
89.4.
89.4b, they will,
4B.
see what the department is saying, since you.
Of 5 CR, they will not give the refund. To the extent of 5
I don't know,
CR.
in some cases either they'll not give, or in past cases they have already given and they are asking. So what they are saying, you have applied in 89.4, so your refund is erroneous. So how much refund is erroneous?
To the extent of 5 CR.
I mean, as per department, entire refund is
Entire refund is
erroneous.
erroneous.
Because I have already said, you have claimed in a wrong room.
Wrong.
नहीं, मेरा दूसरा भी तो है ना, without benefit of advance authorization.
हाँ,
That तो is
हाँ, so
correct.
to that extent, to that
So to
extent.
the extent of 5 CR,
Yeah,
which is under
हाँ,
advance
correct.
authorization, to that
So
extent.
what,
the refund
15
is
CR,
erroneous.
okay, that is there. It is erroneous. And suppose I will, proportionate because non-advance authorization applies to that extent. Now, can I go one step ahead? And I tell to the department that now you are reopening my assessments. So therefore you reopen in entirety. So you do one thing, whenever you are computing my erroneous refund, you take what was eligible straight away in 89.4, that so there is no problem. You take what is eligible under 89.4b also, and then determine whether I have actually taken more credit, more refund or not. So first you take under 89.4, which is of course clear to calculate. 89.4b also you can calculate based on input output. Input service may you don't have input output, so you go on ratio basis and you give an alternate calculation to the department. And then you show them that I have not claimed any excess. Right? This practically we have done with DGGI authorities, where we have shown them that you take my 89.4 and you take my 89.4b had I applied correctly. The only difference I did is I made one claim instead of making two claims. That is the only thing which has gone wrong. So you do this and then compare whether there is excess or not. And if there is excess, only to that extent you can give me error. And of course, you'll fight on other parameters, but your show cause amount gets reduced. Show cause amount gets reduced. Now, what the department is doing?
Still have the impact of penalty?
As per department, sir. Even though you have disclosed everything, as per them, it is they will levy penalty. DGGI without penalty, it cannot work, sir. That is not allowed. That is,
Sir, whether can we take a stand? This is never an erroneous refund, because at the first time
you have given and you have not.
your
So there are
officer yourself has
2-3 grounds. No, there are 2-3 grounds. If your refund claim was filed, not appealed. So there are few judgments which say if the refund assessment is not appealed, show cause of erroneous refund is not there. Of course, there are contrary judgments. Otherwise, वो erroneous refund कब होगा? जब अपील ही फाइल किया है तो show cause क्यों देगा? तो वो contrary है उसमें. That is one argument. Second, limitation will always come because the person who has sanctioned, he knows that you are under advance authorization. Third, how the department is doing? Department is taking your claim filed. Same period. Suppose I am doing export from April to December. In 89.4, I may have gone from only April to June. फिर थोड़ा बीच में domestic में use हो गया. Then I went from October to December. So they are taking, if your April to June is one refund claim, I will go per refund claim. I am telling them that if you wanted me to apply in 89.4b, I would have applied for all 12 months because I would have been able to get more refund. So those all arguments will come for whatever show cause notices have been issued, subject to if Gujarat High Court gets upheld, तो ये सब argue करने को नहीं मिलेगा हमको. But let's see.
Another point is the limitation that even after refund is sanctioned, there is a separate audit of the refund which happens in
So there is no suppression.
No suppression.
Law 74 does not stand in this case.
Because state authorities बहुत सारों को तो advance authorization ही नहीं पता है.
पता ही नहीं है.
refund मिल ही गया.
Can we take the stand in this 89.4b, just 4A4b, that even if you don't have anything CL, still you are eligible to claim this refund? But there is
Electronic
no-
credit ledger.
Yeah,
Even if you
do
don't
not
have
any
anything.
IDs in the credit
तो आप
ledger.
refund
So you are
किसका-
eligible because there is no formula prescribed.
हाँ.
There is nothing written. They have just stated that whatever inputs.
नहीं 89 का मैम if you see the covering this thing.
Unutilized income tax. 54 3 itself.
54
Yeah,
three.
you're right.
हाँ वो तो it cannot go.
Unutilized है? नहीं नहीं.
नहीं unutilized नहीं है but ITC है ना.
I'm not going on.
नहीं मैम ये बोल रही है कि unutilized ITC word नहीं है मैम.
Where the person claiming refund of unutilized input tax credit on account of zero rated supply, zero rated supplies without payment of taxes has received so and so. So unutilized is then.
On the parent section itself,
It's
unutilized the rule.
But without credit तो आपको मिलेगा नहीं.
4B में भी
हाँ,
वही
without-
होता है.
Try to compare those two figures.
Yeah.
You can work out on input output basis. It is possible. Either you go on actual stock or weighted average, and people have done that.
Huh.
Many of them have done that, and many of them have got notices also. Continue, but okay, now we hope in future this will get resolved करके. And then that judgment you are referring, Gujarat High Court,
Gujarat High Court.
Philatex India.
Philatex, yes.
Philatex India, where in this case, what had happened? He filed a refund under 4B. So first refund claim they denied, saying that what is the formula. Subsequent they accepted, commissioner accepted. They made an alternate in the writ. The SSC said, I will, department itself said they should apply on pro rata basis. So I couldn't बोला सबसे कर लो and it sent it कर.
So any issues on first case study? Shall we go to second case study?
Because the second case is Philatex.
Philatex was on a different footing. Philatex India.
Philatex.
India.
But now it is not, I mean, it was how to compute. So they said pro rata you can take.
Philatex India says pro rata.
Pro rata,
Pro
they
rata.
demanded, commissioner had been allowing
Sir,
that.
in that commissioner has given that SIO and norms to them. And based on that, they applied in the 1894B because 1894 never provides any formula.
But this department is accepting input output norms as per advance license if you give or your actual. It is possible in advance license, many times these are fixed norms as per the licensee on norms. If you say my actual is plus or minus, then that can also, if it is beneficial, it can be argued.
Now coming to issue number 2, ABC is engaging business export of goods which is taxed under 5%. It has claimed ITC in FY 2021 of 10 lakh rupees. Thereafter, it has not. For 2021, they do not have any export. Thereafter, for 21-22 also they don't have any export. 22-23 also they don't have. So ITC remain in ECL ledger. Thereafter, in 23-24, they had the export turnover of 20 lakh rupees. So they whether this 10 lakh rupees, what ITC was there in 2021, whether I will be able to claim the refund of that amount, because in 2021 I had the ITC, I had no export turnover. In 23-24 I have export turnover, I have no ITC for that year, available during that year.
Without IDT, you exported.
I have made without payment of tax. Under LUT I have exported for 23-24. And I have unutilized. I have purchased. Suppose I have purchased in 2021 some goods, and I exported in 23-24.
Those goods only. Purchased in 2020, those goods you are exporting in 2024.
I will get the refund.
It says net ITC availed, but it doesn't say during which period. So net ITC, so it is first place net ITC for the period for which refund is filed. Usually go by that understanding, but then it goes to that to compare three figures. One is the balance at the time of filing the refund application, one during the quarter, and so that during the at the time of filing the application again that will include my refund for ITC for prior period also.
So you will file a refund application for 22-23 or 23-24, or how you will file?
Again, going by by definitive meaning, it will be only for that particular period only, not be for the earlier period.
So then net ITC, if you see net ITC availed on input services during the relevant period. So your relevant period is 23-24. So you will not get no ITC during that relevant.
But again, and least will be.
Then for which year we should?
I am little of a different. So my view is that I agree that here they say during the relevant period, but there are judgments in the service tax era also which have said that there is a natural time lag. If I remember correctly, there is a particular case law which says there is a natural time lag between what you are, taking and when you are exporting. So it need not be in the same period, and still you should be eligible to take a credit and reserve of it, provided you are able to establish that, those books were somewhere used.
One more.
It was in service tax I am talking.
Sorry, one more. Here, if I file a refund claim for multiple period by clubbing all these 3 period.
And that is also, that's the next point.
Practically what we will do, we will select from 2021 till 23-24. So my entire relevant period is from April 2020 to March 23-24. So I will be entitled to entire refund thing. Everyone?
Yes.
So what we are saying is I can claim ITC refund even for 5 years back.
I will have to be able to prove कि जो 5 साल पहले माल लिया था वो आज
Exactly.
It is not 2 years from ITC availment.
2 years relevant date.
54A supports us. It specifically says what I'm giving you refund is either tax paid or it is tax on inputs which is used for exports. So use can be at any point of time. It can be 2 years earlier, it can be 5 years earlier. ITC can be availed 5 years earlier also. But because your entitlement to refund will come only when you export, not when you use the goods. So because it is export, after export, if you come in 2 years, government is ready to give you the refund. So the solution is file an application from 2021 to 24. Okay. And you take entire ITC.
Sir, there's a one judgment, direct judgment on this of Delhi High Court, wherein whatever I have written, in export, availability of rotation of fund is essential for business to thrive. Moreover, business do not run according to whims of executive authorities. The business world cannot be told when to place order for export, when to manufacture the goods for export, and when actually undertake the export. Therefore, they have given key you will be entitled to the refund claim.
After this judgment only they opened up multiple.
Yes.
They amended their circular also.
So, there is one more paper, clause A of section 8 of 54. It says that whatever inputs and input services used in making the export, that refunds are eligible. That is also.
So one twist to this, suppose I have local turnover for 2021, 21, 22, 23, 24. And I have used that ITC in that thing and balance is there. Still, I would be able to get the refund. It is not used in that export. Suppose example. मैंने परचेज किया था 2021 में, वो मैंने लोकली बेचा है माल, उसके बाद 21-22 में मैंने वापस से थोड़ा परचेज किया लोकली और मैंने लोकली सेल किया. सेम थिंग गोज ऑन बट अनयूटिलाइज्ड आईटीसी रहेगा. और 23-24 में वापस से 23-24 में मैंने एक्सपोर्ट किया. तो वेदर दैट refund I would be able to get.
But it says avail, so it never says utilized. So it should be.
So then
from 17-18 he's saying
I got the point. So while in case of goods this is okay, but if it is services, so there could be a credit which was pertaining to services which remain unutilized. Well, maybe I couldn't claim the whole refund amount, maybe I couldn't utilize it. So that unremained will always there as a balance in my ECA.
How far back can I go?
I think time limit is not an issue.
Time limit is not an issue.
Whether you need to prove the nexus or not.
Yeah, you need to prove the nexus.
By you need to prove the nexus in unutilized ITC.
So
If it have been export with payment, probably the answer could have been different in.
But in this case, goods are used for export.
Export.
ITC is for common for exports and domestic.
The goods
Raj,
for
just
which the
common.
ITC is pending or the period for which.
How do you identify that?
Identify.
That's how we prove the ITC.
And
So that Nexus thing, I think in couple of substrat rulings, that Nexus was the next refund rate said there, you never try to prove the Nexus between input and output.
But if I'm, like the logic with Pitamra books was that there is a certain timeline which
correct.
business is
So
for.
they said you club it.
You club it.
So I am clubbing it.
But then I have to, underlying logic was that there is a nexus why that,
Correct.
or there is a reason, that's a timeline is to be stressed. If I'm not able to prove that, then my case becomes weak.
Suppose I didn't have inputs which I use for exports. Would I normally have unutilized? If there were no inputs which were used for export, then practically normally I would not have unutilized
Not
except
have, not
inverted.
have.
So there,
So inverted duties, you would have.
except inverted, so I'll file a separate refund. Why will I go into this format? So in my example, this inputs is of course common. What in the first variant was there was no domestic. In the second example, there is domestic. Now I'll go again back for the 4 years, but my amount of claim will be computed as per formula, which takes into account all ITC as well as domestic. Because formula, I don't know, कोई scientist ने नहीं बनाया है, कोई mathematician ने बनाया. It's a generalized formula. कि I don't, we are not going to see what is your actual. We are not concerned. We are not required. Neither you are required, neither I am required. I will go on a generalized basis. This formula can have advantage, can have disadvantage. So that government also agreed, but it is simplified version how to give refund. If they ask you to give actual, तो उसी पे litigation चलते रहे. So now because of this, you may get advantage, you may not get it, but you can file for 4 years. But in that formula, all domestic turnover, everything will come, and then you can get the refund. So one-to-one use. Entitlement arises on account of use because logically unutilized ITC will only come from that, but one-to-one is not required. One-to-one is not required.
So then here it says, because I have come across this thing, one of the officers, he said कि 54(8) में A है ना, it says refund of tax paid on inputs or input services used in making such exports.
Madam, you will fall under B no, then you read B also. That is a refund of unutilized input tax rate under subsection 3.
Tax paid, exports with payment of that.
No, refund of B. Refund of unutilized input tax rate under subsection 3, and subsection 3 says zero rated supplies made without payment of tax.
I agree. I'm just telling you that they do point out like this in the show cause notice, and my refund was rejected to that extent.
No, that even for me to export or with payment also they have rejected. That I don't buy.
You don't buy, I agree, but
Dependent बोला है,
But my
tax paid on export of goods or services or input used in making such export.
तो इनपुट one-to-one का mechanism आएगा तो.
नहीं, ये तो
Because my 89.4 is also under the refund of unutilized ITC.
So only one question, what I'm trying to understand is, what you're saying is that, okay, for the purpose of entitlement, I need to use certain goods for the purpose of export, and then I'm entitled. Once I am entitled, then the formula is general. It then does not decide. And I agree. So if you go strictly by the rule, then probably you will face troubles. But then if you go by the understanding of the theory, why this rule was made, then I should be eligible to get the refund still. Even without, I mean, my one-to-one nexus will be still.
One example, I am a domestic trader, okay, और मैंने किसी को consultancy दे दिया export का. Forget 4 years, 2 साल में ही बात करते हैं हम लोग. ठीक है, I am a domestic trader and एक consultancy, I gave a big consultancy amount to a foreign. Can I claim refund? And I'll say consultancy के लिए there is no specific expenditure. Let's say there is no specific. Of course, we will always say, sir, AC चालू हुआ, rent लगा. That is there. But let us say कि there is no specific, direct specific expenditure. Can I claim refund?
common credit तो है ना, you can claim.
So I can claim refund. So in that net ITC, what I have to take?
All the goods and services.
So I am agreeing from, if you go by the formula, I understand. But I'm saying for all cases, the formula may not be appropriate in certain situations as we discussed on this particular case. In those cases, can I go for a broader principle is what I'm trying to understand.
Matlab, are you saying can I go on actual basis?
On actual basis, then I'll go. And
So
I
then you have to say that you'll have to challenge the mechanism itself. और वो जो VKC footstep वगैरह में, even though they said rule as anomaly, but we cannot say that set itself. What you can argue is, in this case, that even though there's a prescribed manner, okay, if there is any other manner, I'm not asking you to set aside the prescribed manner. I am saying if there is any other manner which gives a better result, I may apply. So that is the argument which can go to the court, that because of this anomaly, because of this situation, the purpose of the section is not getting. I am not asking rule is wrong. Rule is correct.
This was done earlier, if you remember, for traders. Until earlier, there was no common ITC reversal formula. And then this rule 60, there was a judgment which had come, where they said that proportionately, even though it's not there, you reverse. I don't remember.
Exercise may be.
But it was there. Accordingly, we can try.
But then in that rule it was not there. Once rule 6.3 came, reversal, can you still say they gave an option first, ki separate books and this. Abhi separate books ka option hata diya. So then can you still say nahi main separate books?
नहीं रखना चाहिए.
So because nahi hai, but ये मतलब अगर बहुत हो तो you can argue. Some good high courts, it will have to go to high court tribunal.
In such cases, bill payment or taxes are better
You
option.
can take that.
Best option.
Best option.
Even in this thing,
Capital goods is
big payment is the best option.
Capital could also be go ahead and take the benefit through bill payment route.
Sir, for that we can take land deduction वाला जो judgment आया था ना, land deduction में 1/3 is deemed there. We can take. I have proved that thing.
Service no.
Services, yes, staff.
So in case of export of services with payment, there is a question mark.
Then you have to.
They are asking for
follow this
nexus
only.
even in
Yes.
those cases.
For?
For export of services with payment also, they are asking for nexus. So I don't know, and they have passed orders against us.
आप लोग से हम सबसे मिलना है कैसे मिलेंगे?
Now coming to our third issue. Second issue, everyone is okay, no? Now coming to third issue. I have filed a refund application on 20th January 25, and my export proceedings I have received on 3rd of January 23, 5th January 23, and 25th Jan 23. So here my 2 years comes into 54(1) comes into play, 2 years from the end of the relevant period. So 3rd Jan and 5th Jan 23, and I have filed on 20th of Jan 25. Whether the refund claim will be rejected on this ground, it has gone beyond 2 years. Everyone got the question, no?
Same export transaction, you are having.
Same single invoice.
Single invoice.
Single
Single
invoice.
invoice.
Single
Single. I have single invoice of suppose 4 lakh rupees, for which I have received export proceedings. First in 3rd of Jan 23, second one is 5th Jan 23, and then is 25th Jan 23. No, sir. Export I have done in 2023 only, Jan 23, realized also in 23, and I have filed a refund application in 25. Everyone got the question, no?
2 years from the
End of the, so 54(1),
2 years from the.
say any person claiming refund of any tax or any other amount paid by him shall make an application before expiry of 2 years from the relevant date, in such manner as may be prescribed. From the relevant date, and relevant date for services, receipt of payment in convertible foreign exchange. Whenever you receive the foreign exchange, that is the date on which that is the relevant date. So in our case, I have received on 3rd of January 23 part proceedings on 5th Jan 23, and another is 25th Jan 23. So department is telling first two is time barred since you are not applied within 2 years.
That's correct. Third one, part payment also can be. Part payment can also
See,
put.
so if you see the definition of export of services, It says that unless and until you do not receive your convertible foreign exchange, it is not export of
Export.
service. So till the time you are not receiving all the full payment, it is not an export at all. So the that particular transaction is export is only verified on the date when you are receiving the full payment. That is 20th January.
मैम जितना एक्सटेंड का पेमेंट मिला है वो तो मेरा एक्सपोर्ट हो गया ना.
I have raised a single
अगर
invoice
अभी
ना.
का अगर
मेरा
अभी का
single
contract
invoice है,
हम्म.
तो वो single invoice I have to prove that this is an export. I cannot bifurcate into parts na
The
services.
service cannot be. So tell me
No,
one
that's
thing,
what I'm
say if you
saying.
raise an invoice for 1 lakh USD,
हाँ,
you provide services up to 80,000 USD, you say it's a single invoice of 1 lakh USD, you receive money for 80,000 USD.
हाँ,
And 20,000 due to dispute you have to write off for the other party.
that, हाँ.
Do we say that when the balance 80,000 is taxable and not an export
See,
also?
this is a separate thing where you are writing off. Then you will be writing
For
off
whatever
via
reason the
credit
other
note
person
or
does not
debit.
pay.
See, you will be writing off via credit note or debit note of that particular, related to that particular invoice only. You are not going to directly write off, right? So 1 लाख का invoice है, 20,000 का credit note दिया, तो 80,000 का आपका export हो गया. That much you are receiving. So on the day you
यहाँ
receive
पे भी आपको
80,000.
part payment डालना
मैम if we
Part
done
payment
नहीं
आया.
will not split it, हम मान लेते हैं पहले दिन पे रिसीट आ पूरा टाइम बार हो जाएगा.
तो पूरा टाइम बार हो जाएगा.
तो अगर आप या तो आप स्प्लिट करें या तो आप स्प्लिट ना करें.
हाँ.
स्प्लिट ना करें तो आप फर्स्ट रिसीट को माने कि लास्ट रिसीट को माने.
I think last receipt.
इधर ज्यादा है, उल्टा भी हो सकता है. ये
उल्टा, हाँ.
मेजोरिटी अमाउंट इधर है. But उल्टा-
So be I believe that to the tune of the invoice, till the time you are not writing off anything, till that time, so that particular transaction cannot be called an export unless and until you don't receive your full payment of that invoice.
तो भी
That is
नॉर्मली
according to
नॉर्मली
the, on the
जैसे
basis of the
अनयूटिलाइज
definition.
होता है तो इन दिस सेम सिनेरियो अगर ये अलग अलग मंथ्स में होता तो हम हर मंथ के रिफंड क्लेम में उसको पार्ट डालते हैं.
partly that.
अगर समझिए ये तो
हाँ.
एक महीने में है,
हाँ.
अगर अलग अलग महीने में रिसीट होता है तो हम हर महीने उसको एक्सपोर्ट टर्नओवर ले लेते हैं.
Because export terminal specifically provides means the value of export of service is the aggregate of payment received during the relevant period and zero rated supply has been completed for payment has been received in advance prior to so. So whenever I have received the payment is my export turnover for that period.
And even in fact, statement 3, if we enter the date,
After the date.
to transfer date, it asks for the relation date only. When
Again, that is a mechanism. You first still need to see what she is saying is export
Service.
services.
Hmm.
The definition, I am saying, for that I have a counter argument. For export of services per se, there is a condition that you have to receive the amount in convertible foreign exchange. It doesn't say when, prior or later. Both, in my view, could be treated as export of services. The moment you know that it is going, there is a foreign exchange going to come or has come, both cases are covered under export of services. Then you go to section 54 to determine whether it will be eligible to take refund or not. Then you go to this relevant date. And mechanism, I think, will come the last, which is only how do you calculate the refund. So I think that when you say that receipt needs to be considered in the formula, that is only for the formula purpose I am checking. But still, for the relevant date, I still need to go with this only. So I need to see this section only.
Only.
To see what I am trying to say.
Whether we can split, either it has the question is for this clause C, whether you will split your transaction or you will say no, my service is one and therefore relevant date can only be one.
That is a correct question.
Either
that is
in a
what-
single transaction, there can be 3 relevant dates or there can only be 1 relevant date. And which can be
That is what I
first
said.
and which can be last. It has to be receipt date because हमेशा last or if receipt is advanced then invoice date. उतना तो clarity है. Now the question is कि आपका समझ लो $1,00,000 का एक्सपोर्ट है, आपको 95,000 आ गया, आप रिफंड डालना भूल गए तो आप उसको बोलोगे 5,000 जो है अभी दे
अभी,
दे,
हाँ.
तो मैं अभी पूरा 1,00,000 का डाल देता हूँ. वैसे
Yes.
क्वेश्चन उतना ही है, 3 रेलिवेंट डेट है या एक
एक
relevant
relevant
date?
date. According to me,
मुझे तो
there
नहीं बताना.
according to me there are 3 relevant dates because this specifically provides that in cases exported service receipt of payment in convertible foreign exchange. So whenever I got the receipt, it is my relevant date for that receipt.
Receipt is the cause of action, not the person.
No, invoice is also there. No, so either of whichever is earlier they
For
give.
in this case, na, because
In-
here my invoice is before and receipt is one.
So for every, okay, so what you're trying to say is for every type of invoice, there will be a different answer. There could be 3 relevant dates in.
So that
अगर
will be
पैसा advance में आया, अगर पैसा advance में आया, then invoice is my
Invoice
cause
date.
of action.
cause of action.
If invoice is before, then each date of receipt is my cause of action.
Correct.
The form allowed you to say this was made in December, application was made in December. Whether the same invoice number will be allowed to be repeated in the application form.
That is
So
a.
that would be a procedural.
बाद में आऊंगी पहले तो section में ही
But-
Procedure नहीं होगा, बाकी काम
फिर वो 10 में जाके लेके फर्क करो.
सर क्या भी वोटिंग कर लें
हाँ.
3 dates और 1 date?
3 dates.
1 date पे एक ही आओ.
नहीं, one day.
1 date. 1 and 1 11. ठीक है,
So one day, if you go by one day, what is the first date or last date?
So I presume it to be last day. I'll tell you the reason also. So why I'm thinking I give you the background, because this C earlier, if you remember in the earlier era, it was only the date of receipt, etc. Thereafter, there were certain instances where it came that it was only quarterly refund filing, and therefore there were a lot of court decisions, and therefore they amended to say that okay, whichever is later, you take that day, and they became liberal in that case because it is export. So same thought I'm applying here, that you have, whenever you are interpreting the export provisions, you have to think liberally, and therefore I'm considering it to be the last day.
But earlier when they allowed quarterly, it was giving you a particular extension also.
Yes,
It could be
yes.
more than 1 year.
Yes, it was around 1 year and
This-
3 months for
This
her.
basically restricts it.
So,
Can you argue that because in this case, does it have a effect of now when I go to the portal
हाँ.
and suppose I need to file a refund for this and I go to the portal, I can still file. So portal is not restricting my period lower than 2 years.
So portal तो will only give you a relevant period. So my relevant period for this is month only as per portal. So April is my
So
entire
you
month.
can, नहीं, you can take one argument अगर बचना है तो. यानी पहले तो legally क्या है? I feel it would be each installment because relevant date is specifically date of receipt. They would, and they have also visualized when you receive payment earlier, you raise invoice. Installment का of course visualization है कि नहीं, and especially in this case. वैसे. So but if you strictly go by relevant date, और इसमें कोई anomaly नहीं तो it will be date of receipt. Now what is the ground where you can argue this is, now suppose I have to file refund and now 2 years have gone and I need to file refund for Jan. इसमें same month है. Since I cannot, but application also I can file for different months. So portal is not creating a hitch. So that is not there. I feel it should be each receipt.
turnover में क्या डालोगे?
Each receipt का turnover डालो.
उतना
See,
receipt
turnover
का
में
entitlement चला गया.
So we are saying anyways, what he's saying.
The moment you reduce,
Formula reduce
Receipt
what?
is your turn.
the moment you reduce, now the only, let's say we apply the formula. तो formula में ऊपर zero rated supply जो है, technically everything is zero rated supply, but you will have to exclude 1 lakh from here. No?
Why sir?
Yes. No, 150 rupees.
Only?
This example, how much is beyond 2 years is 1 lakh. 1 lakh USD.
हाँ.
है
Correct.
ना?
Sir, but what if you go by the formula, no, that's the formula to always give the relevant period only. Aggregate term of payment received in the relevant period.
But
So my period is
relevant period is for the period for which I am claiming refund.
refund.
If my claim itself is time bar, so I'll say मेरा claim time bar है, लेकिन मैं calculation में पूरा ले रहा हूँ, तो आपको तो पैसा मिल गया.
The relevant period starts from the
आपको तो
relevant.
पैसा मिल गया ना.
The relevant period will start from the relevant date to 2 years from it. तो फिर वो
See, if I include everything,
difficult.
if I include everything in this formula, then मेरा write off किधर हुआ refund? I should get less refund had I applied 1 month earlier, and by applying on 20th Jan, there should be difference in my refund amount or not.
Yes.
So it will only come when I treat this 1 lakh as a total turnover, but not as a zero rate.
Zero.
For the purpose of refund. Only then I will get a lower refund.
But that distinction which you are saying doesn't come from the actual text of the.
Because see, this is a prescribed manner to claim eligible refund.
Correct.
Not a prescribed manner to claim ineligible refund. वो तो उन्होंने भी सोचा नहीं होगा कि ऐसे कभी होगा. उनके हिसाब से तो एक्सपोर्ट में पैसा सब पहले ही आ जाता होगा. तो वो framers will never.
If I just twist the question, instead of export of service, there's an export of goods.
Correct.
And for identifying the relevant date, I would say that my goods have gone in two portions. It's a
Correct.
machine. Breakdown करके या knockdown condition है. दो कंटेनर में भेजा, एक कंटेनर 30th Jan को गया, एक कंटेनर 5th February को गया. Now what would be my relevant date be in that scenario?
Date of export of
Each container.
और आपका डिफरेंट वेसल नहीं, आपको शिपिंग बिल तो अलग ही फाइल होगा.
बट मेरे पास प्राइस अलग नहीं होगा.
प्राइस आपने कमर्शियल इनवॉइस शिपिंग बिल में तो कुछ वैल्यू डाला होगा.
शिपिंग बिल के लिए तो इनवॉइस बना.
आप टैक्स इनवॉइस पे यू गॉट एवरीथिंग इन द पोर्ट. एक्सपोर्ट आप 2 कंटेनर कर रहे हो तो आपके फैक्ट्री से भी 2 कंटेनर में ही निकला. तो मे बी वो नॉकडाउन कंडीशन में जैसे भी निकाला आपने, आपका टैक्स इनवॉइस एक हो सकता है, कमर्शियल इनवॉइस 2 होगा. नहीं भी होगा तो शिपिंग बिल के लिए जो आपने बाइफरकेशन किया दैट इज ओके. एक बार टैक्स इनवॉइस और टोटल कमर्शियल इनवॉइस.
So there I cannot say that since the entire thing was not exported, my relevant date will be when the entire thing is exported.
हाँ वो वैसा वाला वो इसमें भी नहीं है क्लॉज है.
So we are concluding in this that for first.
ये जो नॉकडाउन वाला जो ये बता रहे हैं ना, so if you are going into domestic this thing, right, if you are selling it domestically, तो वहाँ पे वो लोग clearly बोलते हैं कि
Lots
में जाएगा
पहले
under
invoice
delivery
है.
चलन,
हाँ.
and the invoice will go last, and that person cannot claim the credit unless and until the last lot
Claim
is
के लिए, हाँ,
received.
receipt.
Right?
रिसीट के लिए. हाँ रिसीट के लिए. इनवॉइसिंग तो फर्स्ट ही बना दोगे आप.
हाँ, invoice तो मैं पहले ही बनाऊंगा.
Tax आप भर दोगे. हाँ,
But you cannot claim the refund. So in the same way here, what he is saying, तो export में तो invoice तो मेरा first lot से के साथ ही जाएगा.
टैक्स इनवॉइस जाएगा.
हाँ, tax invoice जाएगा. That itself will be my relevant date.
My relevant date is date of export.
हाँ उसमें लेट एक्सपोर्ट वो है.
लेट एक्सपोर्ट ऑर्डर आता है. नहीं तो एक्चुअली इट इज व्हेन द शिप लीव्स इंडिया टेक्निकली वो आपको ईजीएम डेट में मिलता है.
हाँ, EGM.
यू मे नॉट इवन टेक लेट एक्सपोर्ट. हमारे पास एक केस था तो वी गॉट द ईजीएम डेट, तो हमको 5-10 दिन का उसमें बेनिफिट मिल गया जहाँ पे एकदम बॉर्डर लाइन था. तो ईजीएम पीछे पड़ के ईजीएम डेट लिया.
पर EGM डेट के बगैर तो रिफंड एप्लीकेशन अपलोड ही नहीं होता.
नहीं आपका शिपिंग बिल डेट.
पॉइंट इज उनका 2 साल का वो.
ईजीएम तो आपका एक्सपोर्ट व्हीकल मैनिफेस्ट. हमने तो उसको ये भी बोला कि इंडिया बॉर्डर कब क्रॉस किया, वो अगर मिल सकता है तो बताना. वो टेरिटोरियल वाटर तो बोला वो पॉसिबल नहीं है इतना पुराना. तो बिकॉज आपका शिपिंग बिल फाइल होगा. ठीक है, आपका लेट एक्सपोर्ट ऑर्डर आया तो वेसल गया. वेसल में जब सब कार्गो लोड हो गया देन दे विल फाइल एन एक्सपोर्ट जनरल मैनिफेस्ट ईजीएम डेट. So then after EGM also they may leave the next day. It is possible. And they may cross it वैसे.
Okay. So here it says, sorry, I just again. The relevant date explanation says 2K1.
Correct.
The date when goods leave India. Now crossing the customs frontier is the date of leaving India.
India.
Leaving the territorial border.
Territory.
But you should have evidence of that. वहाँ photo
Voice recording.
EGM date के basis पे you can say ना कि this is the date the goods left India.
because that is always
That's the
उसके
only
बाद ही है.
document available.
That is the last document where you can say. That is the last document.
Okay. Now coming to fourth issue.
But,
Is engaging.
that is what I was sorry. What I'm trying to tell you is that when you are going for the refund of LUT, ITC, you have to fill that statement 3. Statement 3 में EGM नंबर के बगैर अपलोड नहीं होता है.
तो मैच करते हैं इसके लिए. That is only for matching.
नहीं, but
हाँ, but
that is
ठीक
what
है,
I'm
वो
saying.
वैसे-
So unless and until you don't have an EGM number, you cannot even claim the refund also. That is
I
what
think
I'm
so,
trying to say.
ये मेरे पास तो पुराना केस आया था बॉर्डर लाइन, तो वो हमने अल्टरनेट आर्गुमेंट किया था। इनिशियली पोर्टल पे नहीं था, अब ये सब स्टेटमेंट्स में इनिशियल पीरियड में था नहीं।
तभी तो नहीं था,
हाँ,
वो
तभी
अलग बात था, but now
Now
तो
तो it is.
without EGM number you are not allowed to upload on.
Coming to fourth question, A is a manufacturer of toys. In the month of February 25, they have sold the toys to one of the Mr. B of Indonesia, where they have charged collected tax. Though they have made an export, they have charged and collected tax. So they have raised invoice along with GST. So whether then A applied for a refund of export of goods with payment of IGST, customs authority give them the refund. Thereafter, audit was been carried out, and audit party to inform them that since this is unjust enrichment, you have already collected, charge collected and paid tax, you are not eligible for refund. So whether this contention is correct or no?
89-2M is there. Rule 89-2M.
Certification.
That is
That
certification.
says that you are not transferred the burden.
Sir, but
in export it is
that
very-
excludes export.
Sanjay,
sir, this is that rule. Provided a declaration is not required to be furnished in respect of cases covered under 54(8)(a). So export is under 8(a).
Export of goods.
Export of C is also there. So whether, in short, this question is whether export of goods required requires me to prove unjust enrichment or no.
This
No.
was for declaration, no CS certificate.
Yes.
That is not relevant in the question at all. What he is asking is something different, right? That if you have passed on the incidence of
Of
the
tax,
then
whether,
can you claim the
refund or no of export.
Whether we can take double benefit in exports.
एक बार उससे भी
Government से
जीएसटी का
भी ले
पैसा आ
लो
गया,
और
गवर्नमेंट से भी
government
पैसा
से
ले
भी।
लो.
There is one case where the foreign party claimed the refund.
This person has charged
Charge.
and that person applied in India.
Yeah. He applied manually and.
And there the tribunal said you show unjust enrichment. Even though foreign party was applying. Even because you show unjust enrichment. वो एक केस में हुआ था. The foreign party.
This is shocking.
अगर इंडियन को छोड़ देते हैं, फॉरेनर को पकड़ते हैं. अभी वही रिसर्च कर
They
रहा
were
था.
granted refund to the foreign party.
हाँ, unjust enrichment they remanded. That you have to show. He was arguing unjust is not applicable. मैं तो इंडिया के बाहर हूँ. So they say
उसको भी
nothing.
बोला कि unjust enrichment applicable होगा.
हाँ, बोला आप unjust enrichment because ultimate principle is otherwise it has to go to consumer welfare fund.
Correct, correct.
So you cannot. आज समझो यहाँ से टैक्स लगा, उसने बाहर बेचते समय उसको कॉस्ट में इंक्लूड करके रिकवर कर लिया, तो आपको तो डबल बेनिफिट है इवन तो यू आर आउटसाइड इंडिया.
Correct.
कंक्लूड नहीं किया था अनजस्ट में, बट दैट आर्ग्यूमेंट वाज कि वो सेइंग इट इज अ केस ऑफ एक्सपोर्ट्स because the Indian exporter had paid tax on to the foreign party. So the argument was it is exports, no unjust enrichment. Ben said, but you are recipient. You are not the
Supplier.
exporter. मतलब सर्विस टैक्स या उसका सर्विस टैक्स का केस है.
But still, even unregistered people are given refund. Then obviously the foreign people should be granted. I mean,
टेक्निकली वो सर्विस टैक्स में ऐसा स्पेसिफिक नहीं था, यहाँ पे तो
हाँ,
जैसे
correct.
है unjust
I agree. There it was not
enrichment.
specifically.
So in
The
present
question
case,
is हमारे केस में whether exporter who is getting double benefit can he do that?
Logically तो नहीं कर सकते, but I am not able to find.
There is no legally, there is no restriction. If
वही देख रही हूँ.
I think service tax, I remember one of the circular of 2009 was there where they said that you need to somewhere, you need to, I don't remember the wordings, but they were trying to say somewhere the services should be used. Then only,
Outside India.
outside India, outside
then
India.
only you should get.
But उससे unjust enrichment तो नहीं है.
नहीं उसमें कहीं ना कहीं वो point I don't remember, but 2009 में somewhere this was in that I'll have to go back again. But this was somewhere a little bit, not directly, but indirectly covered in that circular. Otherwise, I don't think there is any restriction under the law.
An exporter can.
I also feel there is no restriction, but only thing is that 54(4), how will you surpass this thing? application shall be accompanied by such document evidence as may be prescribed to establish that refund is due to the applicant. As may be prescribed, that is rules they have prescribed 89. And such document or other evidence as the applicant may furnish to establish the amount of tax and interest, if any, paid on such tax or any other amount in relation to such an incidence of tax has been passed on to any other person.
Not being passed.
Not been passed, sorry.
There is the same thing, the same rule, 89 to N.
Huh?
Says the same thing.
But so 2M states ki you don't, for export you don't have to provide this declaration or unjust enrichment, you don't have to prove unjust enrichment. But 54 4B, how to come out of this thing? 54 4B.
But 54(8) says notwithstanding anything contained in subsection 5, right? And 5 is the ultimate order.
Huh.
What I remember.
Correct.
So then,
So while I'm filing a refund claim, I have to follow this 54 4. At
right,
the
but they are saying in 8, notwithstanding anything in 5,
5.
subsection 5. Subsection 5 is the ultimate, so in 5 you
Still,
can
huh.
go out and you need not file this declaration.
Five में तो ये है ना refund credited to the fund. Why is that
Refund credited
credited
to
to
the
the fund?
fund. If it is sanctionable, then it is credited
हाँ
to
तो
the fund, except
notwithstanding मतलब
If on receipt, the property that the whole refund.
Otherwise, providing the fund, they will give you the cash refund.
वो लिखा 54(8) दिखा
हाँ
रहा है
तो
screen.
8 में ऐसा बोल रहे हैं कि आपको कैश में मिलेगा, फंड में नहीं जाएगा, इसीलिए नॉटविथस्टैंडिंग सबसेक्शन 5 लिखा है. 8 का जो है वो
8
Let me just go through.
आगे इसमें रहेगा
हाँ.
54(8).
For 5 is for every type of refund, right?
तो what 54 is saying कि once the order is determined that आपको refund मिल रहा है, refund will go to the fund. फिर नहीं मिल रहा है, notwithstanding fund में नहीं जाएगा, assessee को मिलेगा.
Correct. Correct.
हाँ. तो
All refunds are ultimately getting covered under 54(5).
5. हाँ. Every refund will go under 54 5. Thereafter 54 8.
वो हाँ बराबर है. Actually
As on the
54B
burden है तो consumer welfare.
नहीं 54B जो 4B जो है ना, कि such documentary evidence.
जो documentary evidence अगर आप वो दे ही नहीं पाए तो रिफंड सैंक्शन ही नहीं होगी. सैंक्शन होगा तो आपको मिलेगा कि कंज्यूमर वेलफेयर.
रिफंड दो चीजें, एक तो ये रिफंड है कि नहीं,
हाँ.
ठीक है, और है तो किसको देना है. तो समझ लीजिए आपने 12% के बदले 18% भर दिया एंड यू हैव कलेक्टेड, तो आपने एक्सेस भरा है, तो should this 6% be with the government or it should go to the consumer welfare? Because as per article of the constitution, government cannot retain. So government को ये पता चला कि हाँ भाई किसी ने ज्यादा भर दिया है, मैं उसको तो नहीं दे सकता because he has collected, but I will deposit in consumer welfare fund. So from my entitlement is first. Once it is entitled, now government says yes, excess है, भाई किसको देना है, who has borne the burden, मेरे सामने हो मैं दे दूंगा. Since you are not able to prove, it goes to the consumer. So there are appeals filed where refund is rejected. Bench बोलता है we are not convinced. तो advocate last में बोलता है okay, at least you give an order, it should go to consumer. गवर्नमेंट को नहीं मिलना चाहिए. तो एक ऐसा सीन है, मतलब हम लोग सुन रहे थे, उसने अपील फाइल किया, बोला I am not appealing against rejection on unjust enrichment, but it should not go to the government, it should go to consumer welfare fund. ऐसा करके अपील फाइल किया था. So therefore that is second aspect. Now what Karan is saying that 54(8) clearly has one category, right? Refund instead of getting to consumer welfare fund. These are the cases where we can give to that particular person. In that case, the clause which says that you have to show the incidence, that is E. A and B or C, for that matter, or C or D, मतलब 77 का refund है, या आपका refund on advance है where no invoice is issued. All these cases the clause of unjust enrichment is not there. So there's a specific deviation. And if we see, so exports may, it has been the policy of government that we are, even if an exporter gets double benefit, we have no problem.
तो ये 54(4)(b) जो है वो
That is the documents which you can submit. It is not mandatory. That is my view that 54(4)(b) will only apply. What 54(4) does? First of all, 54(4)(a) says whatever is prescribed वो तो आपको देना ही है. That is mandatory. Without that, I am not going to entertain your claim.
but we have to provide
So
the
because
documentary evidence.
Correct.
So
Documentary
54A
evidence proof करना
54A में
पड़ेगा.
I will give prescribed. Prescribed में there is some certificate and all, no problem. But apart from that, if I have any other documents, the onus is on me to establish that I have borne the incidents. Since onus is on me, the provision says you submit all documents because tomorrow it should not happen. You have not submitted documents. I have sanctioned to consumer wealth. So there's a statutory onus on you because you have come to me and claimed. But where I am not supposed to withhold your refund, I am not supposed to ask for this. Then how can I have a legal obligation to submit documents?
So आप बोल रहे हो कि 54(4)(a) जो है वो मैंडेटरी है एंड उसके अंदर वो डिक्लेरेशन या सीए सर्टिफिकेट
जो भी
आ
है.
जाता है.
हाँ.
जो 4(b) है वो ऑप्शनल है. अगर मैं चाहूँ तो मैं करूँ, ना चाहूँ तो ना.
Because it is such documentary or other evidence as the applicant may furnish to establish. May. That is, if I feel कि मेरे जो अभी ये जो सर्टिफिकेट और डिक्लेरेशन है, that is अभी आया है मैंडेटरी लॉ में. सर्विस टैक्स में सीए सर्टिफिकेट बाद में आया था, पहले कुछ नहीं था. ठीक है. नाउ बाद में लॉ भी आएगा कि इवन गिविंग क्रेडिट नोट डज नॉट मीन दैट, बिकॉज इंसिडेंट शुड नॉट बी पास टू अल्टीमेट कंज्यूमर, नॉट टू योर रेसिपेंट. मतलब वो आप कैसे प्रूव करोगे?
So 89(2) is only for 54(4)(a), not for 4(b).
So this
Yeah, even
59(4).
A to 89 is prescribed, so therefore it will come under 54(4)(a). B is prescribed से भी ज़्यादा. If you want to give more, we are not stopping you. Tomorrow you should not come and say कि सर मैंने prescribed दे दिया ना. Now you cannot reject my refund on the ground of unjust enrichment. So prescribed is not the only limit. If department wants, it can ask for more also. If you want, you can give more also. Because this refund, this 54(a) and (b) is not only limited to assessee. Tomorrow if unregistered person wants to go, tomorrow if somebody else wants to go, a third party wants to apply, they can apply.
Unregistered recipient है.
कोई बहुत सारे, any third party, any person who is agree, who says ultimately I have borne the burden can apply.
एक के बाद end लिखा है और नहीं लिखा है.
हाँ हाँ कोई बात नहीं.
That's what you have to.
And such
You-
आपके पास होगा तो आपको देना है तो may है ना.
What
may
sir is telling no that
See,
B is no optional
I agree. When I am claiming this export of goods का this thing, we have to give them whatever FIRC we have received.
Correct.
So obviously the payment जो हमको आया है, that will prove that I have passed on the incidents. So that basis तो.
I'll give you one example. ठीक है. I made an application. मैंने ये certificate दे दिया, मैंने declaration दे दिया. That is prescribed. अब मैं एक लेजर देना चाहता हूँ. You see my amount is kept in GST receivable. I have not expensed out in profit and loss
That
account.
is the way accounting.
है ना? If I have not expensed, then there are judgments that once you have not expensed, there is no question of recovering from other person. तो वो मैं कहाँ दूंगा? प्रिस्क्राइब तो है नहीं. मैं अलग से देने जाऊंगा, ऑफिसर को बोलेगा क्यों दे रहे हो यार? प्रिस्क्राइब नहीं, हम नहीं मानेंगे. But because of my view is it will not apply to unjust enrichment. There are various करण के पास FAQ वगैरह भी है.
There is one FAQ which says the principle of unjust enrichment is not applicable in case of export of goods or services. A recipient is located outside the taxable territory. So this is FAQ.
This is applicable to the recipient or to the exporter?
Exporter.
It won't be applicable to the recipient. He is not supposed to prove that he is getting unjust
No,
enrichment.
sir, it is a principle of unjust enrichment is not applicable in case of export of goods or services.
Scenario.
As recipient is located outside India. Recipient is outside India, therefore the exporters don't have to prove that thing.
Logic उन्होंने वैसे दिया है. And if you even if you see the logic, what, see, tomorrow instead of let's say $1,000 का export है, you are able to recover $80. तो आपने $180, तो आपने $1180 दे दिए. आपको नहीं देते तो आप 1180 प्राइस डाल देते, सामने वाला तो 1180 देने को रेडी है ना, उसको तो क्रेडिट नहीं मिल रहा है. लोकल में वो नहीं चलेगा क्योंकि उसको 180 का क्रेडिट मिल रहा है, क्योंकि गवर्नमेंट ने बोला इसको तो 1180 इज एक्चुअली द प्राइस ऑफ द गुड्स. But because he can say that I will charge, because some exporters will say, foreign importers, I will give you only tax amount. I'll not allow you to raise the price, but I can give you the tax amount. So for that scenario, they said you are ultimately getting foreign currency. तो आप इधर से भी benefit ले लो, उधर से भी benefit ले लो.
Even if the officer asks me to prove undershipment,
Or
then
export.
also he cannot disallow my claim.
Correct. So there is one judgment of old regime where they specifically stated that in case of Hindustan Lever held that unjust and not been made applicable to export of goods. So this is old judgment.
Same identical, sir.
Identical,
11B is identical.
This would again be restricted in case of a good to the FOB value mentioned in the shipping bill. So FOB value wouldn't include taxes. Again, my even working would get restricted.
So normally your export
He has done export with payment
With
of
payment,
tax.
sir. With payment.
तो इसमें आएगा ही नहीं ना.
सर मैंने with
With
payment कर
payment
दिया
of tax
तो
है
कोई
और
फर्क नहीं.
उसने टैक्स का अमाउंट दिया है.
Now question issue number 5. Here I have sent the goods on approval basis to my foreign customer, and as per the terms of agreement, he can tell me he wanted goods or no after 10 months. So he give me a confirmation on 9th month. Yes, I have accepted this good. So issue comes is when is my export? Whether in the first month when I have sent the goods on approval basis, or on the 9th month, or some other date. Everyone got the issue?
Yes.
And I will just bring up one circular.
The period will be either the acceptance or when the period is over.
Correct.
When it becomes export. When he has accepted the date of acceptance. Or the time limit is over. 10 months. So which one is later?
Sir, only one thing. There is one section in this. Not 31(7) is there, which states that notwithstanding contained in subrule 1, where goods have been sent or taken on approval for sale or returned or removed before the supply takes place, the invoice shall be issued before or at the time of supply or 6 months from the date of removal, whichever is earlier. So government is putting a restriction कि 6 महीने में तो आपका इनवॉइस बन जाना चाहिए. If you are sending goods on approval. So now question comes ki when would be my export? On the first day when I send the goods for approval basis, exported, taken goods out of India, or 6th month or 9th month. When is my export?
Artificially it is
6 months.
Artificially, yes, sir. Sir, but on the 6th
By
month,
making rule, they have made it compulsory.
sir, so on the 6th month, how will it is a supply, sir? Supply के लिए consideration होना चाहिए, sir. Consideration पता ही नहीं था उस दिन. 6वें महीने पे मुझे consideration ही नहीं पता था. Supply should be.
पता
पता
था,
होगा
but
delivery
वो
पे.
पता नहीं था कि whether it is confirmed or not.
हाँ.
Title of the goods is not passed.
नहीं कंसिडरेशन भी पॉसिबिलिटी है ना, पता नहीं होना चाहिए. बिकॉज सपोज मैंने ना गुड्स बेचा है कोई बाहर, मैंने एफओबी वैल्यू में कॉस्ट वगैरह कुछ भी दिखा दिया मेरा, फिर वहां जाके वो गुड्स ऐसा है कि ऐसा कोई ग्रो होता रहेगा, अच्छे से ग्रो होता रहेगा, ऐसा कोई गुड्स रहेगा तो उसका वैल्यू बढ़ता रहेगा, तो वो मुझे कंसिडरेशन ही नहीं पता है 6वें महीने पे उसका. हाँ. There is one circular to this, which I will read the circular first. Circular states that the activity of sending goods, taking goods out of India for exhibition on consignment basis for export promotion, except where such activities to satisfy the condition data or ideas do not constitute supply. As said activity does not fall under scope of section 7 as there is no consideration at that point in time. जिस दिन मैंने export के लिए भेजा ना पे उस दिन consideration नहीं पता है. So since there is no supply, it is not a zero rated supply. This is what circular states. On the first day when I send the goods to out of India, at that time they state कि since consideration is not known, no, it is not a supply as per section 7. Since it is not supply as per section 7, it is not a zero rated supply as per section 16.
This is little different scenario where we are talking of exhibition or consignment based export promotion, where actually there was no consideration per se itself, and therefore the circular in the is in the context of
Exhibition, it
those
could be.
examples.
In exhibition, you can sell.
Later on, yes.
Also same, no?
Same.
No, here it was a purchase order. You have sent, then it will be on approval basis. Here there was nothing. Here there was complete uncertainty, I am saying.
There are some exhibitions where the buyer can opt to buy.
Right.
These exhibitions, if you see, the context was of course कि because they also say consignment basis.
Consignment है ना?
So consignment basis means you are giving to a consignment agent. जैसे इधर देते हैं बिका तो back to back billing हो जाएगा. नहीं बिका तो सर आपका ही माल है वैसे. So वो facts are similar.
The logic is mainly.
Logic, I felt. Fine,
And in the same circular, at point number 3, they stated when is the supply of specified goods sent taken out of India said to be taken place. Read B. The supply would deem to have taken place on the expiry of 6 months from the date of removal. The specified goods are neither sold abroad nor brought back with the said price. So there is a contradictory in circular only. One circular से consideration नहीं है तो supply नहीं है. 6th महीने में उनको consideration मिल गया अपने आप. और कहाँ से मिला?
दोनों में difference है. I'll tell you, this is similar to ये आपका sale price का definition का VAT में. MVAT, जहाँ पर वो बोलते थे कि अगर आपका goods का price determined है, तो इस केस में भी goods का price was determined. Both in my view are different scenario. First is a scenario where the sale itself is uncertain. Whether it will take place or not. Here it is like I have sold, but it is on approval basis. I personally feel that both are different. I agree, but then still both are not same situations in my view. Both are really different. Here I know that I am sending against a particular order itself. In my view, both are different situations, and therefore the answer is also different. That's my view. And because specifically 31(7) only covers sale on receipt basis or approval basis.
But just because we know the customer in sale approval, it cannot be considered as a supply.
No, I agree. So I am not denying that. I'm just saying the logic of the circular. No?
Then are you saying that
Time of supply. Also.
There the consideration is there. I am saying it's not determined. It's determined, but it's not conclusive until I complete the sale.
Government के हिसाब से वैसे भी time of supply is given. To extend.
So that will be a negotiation which will happen later on. But this no, my consideration, as I said, is determined. If you take an example of VAT sale price definition.
हाँ sir, वही sir.
Exactly. So there was an example. I am supposed to give you gold, okay? And you're supposed to give me watch. That is a bargain. But if I know the price of the watch and the price of the gold, then the prices are determined. It is exactly similar case in my view. So मेरे हिसाब से तो दोनों अलग situations हैं. That's why the answer. And 31(7).
Because there is an exchange, there is no exchange. There is no sale.
Okay.
In your case, आपको gold के सामने watch मिल रहा है ना. यहाँ पे तो मैं माल बेच रहा हूँ, मुझे क्या मिल रहा है?
नहीं. Determined sale price है.
When you are saying sale on approval means you are raising an invoice and sending
Exactly.
it to them. उसमें value भी है सब है. Moment that person is approved, my invoice is
Accepted. Maybe you may have some discount here and there.
Sale on approval.
Normally on sale on approval.
You will.
It is saleable or returnable. But I am selling you.
Correct, selling.
Detail में होता है. But I also agree to accept return if it is unsold.
Agree. And section but 31(7) no is
That is only
specific
sale on
to
approval.
Sale on approval. It is not about all those earlier
This
cases.
question predates. Let's take an example. 1st Jan को goods गए sale on approval में. 30th September को 6 महीने खत्म हुए. As per circular, it's a deemed supply. एंड 31st दिसंबर को मेरा एक्चुअल
Actual sale हुआ।
सप्लाई हुआ, ठीक है। लेट अस फॉर वन मोमेंट फॉरगेट कि मैंने इनवॉइस 31st दिसंबर को बना रहा हूँ या 30th सितंबर को बना रहा हूँ, so that makes a difference. Now in these 3 dates, what is the, because the question is your entitlement to refund. So of course you will, now these are 3 dates, 1st Jan you sent, 30th September 6 months goes, and 31st December is actual supplies there. And I need to do it into LUT. Okay? So can I raise the invoice? In my case, I have raised on 31st December. First question, can I raise in LUT? Goods are not leaving now. Goods have already left. They are lying somewhere. Can I raise an invoice under LUT?
So for that answer is there in the circuit.
Format.
They say कि even if you are not filed the LUT, it is okay.
करेक्ट है, वो तो प्रोसीजर
Procedural lapse है,
ठीक है।
फाइन, बट एलयूटी के वर्डिंग्स देखने पड़ेंगे टू फाइंड आउट
LUT.
You can raise the invoice.
Because letter,
I-
it is only a letter of undertaking that I agree to pay the taxes which have been foregone.
करेक्ट.
So prior to 31st December, there was no tax liability. So there was no occasion to give undertaking to the government. So on 31st December, liability came, and therefore I have to give the undertaking to the government. So 31st December, if I raise an invoice, there is no problem. Okay. Now, am I liable to pay interest for 3 months?
LUT means to where is the question of tax?
But my deemed supply, as per section 31(7),
I agree, but when you are exporting goods under LUT, it has to be without payment of tax. So it is a question of interest.
correct. So therefore, what ma'am is saying that on 30th September also, on 30th September also, it was still export. Even though it was not a supply. If you say the deemed supply, that deemed supply is of exports only.
Exports only,
It is of exports only. Of course, my foreign receipt condition in export of goods comes only when I have to take refund. Otherwise, I don't. Otherwise, there is no problem. Export of goods
Correct, correct.
definition. So therefore, even on 30th September, even if you assume it is deemed supply, it will still be export. It will still be under LUT. So no interest. Okay, that is the second question answer.
So in this
Third.
question, what will be the relevant?
Correct. Now third.
Yes,
Now
that-
what is the relevant date to include this term?
Interest के लिए I just have this question. LUT में somewhere we are saying that we will have to pay interest. I just want to know the list. I have not seen the format, but that is something that we have to see.
Now LUT में there is one condition, 15 days after
sir.
expiry of 3 months from the removal. ठीक है. अब इसमें तो already removal हो चुका है और 3. So at the
procedural
delay, तो वो ठीक है, वो तो वैसे भी normally जिसको interest मानते हैं. Now third is, now I have to claim refund for this particular transaction. In which month's refund claim I should include this? Jan, September or December? I have raised the invoice in December, as per the facts. Forget circular. Circular बोला था September. पहले हम दे देते कि मैंने क्या किया, मैंने December में raise किया. So should I include in Jan? I should include in September, or I should include in December?
Because
Then,
taking goods out of
only when
India.
you raise the invoice. Only when you, your supply is treated as exports.
Section 54A था ना, A निकाल मजा आई है, हमने तभी ऑफिस में देखा है, ये तो अभी इधर स्ट्राइक हुआ.
54
A.
ना?
तो relevant date A.
Relevant date.
Relevant date का है, sorry.
Yes, sir. Relevant date in
ये
the
C है,
service.
A.
In the case of goods exported in out of India,
Correct.
where a refund of tax paid is available in respect of goods themselves, or as the case may be the inputs or input services. If the goods are exported by sea,
Correct. The date
the
when
date on which the ship or
Now,
aircraft and goods
export
are
of
loaded into
goods.
India.
Export of goods defined in IGST with grammatical variation means taking outside India.
Outside India.
It doesn't say taking for a supply outside India. So there is a contradiction in this peculiar case, that even though goods are not supplied for relevant date, strictly if you read, it will come. But then I'll have to argue that my cause of refund arose only when it was a supply. Whether you take it September or you take it December, that is okay. वो दोनों में जो circular से September ले लो या आपके interpretation से December ले लो. But my cause of refund, my occasion of refund arose in those dates. So even though I had taken it outside India, you have to read all provisions harmoniously because you are giving me refund of zero rated supply. So goods which are already outside India supplied later, the date should be when they are actually supplied. Matlab that you can argue in this case.
Sir, that's what, no precondition, the goods must be sold, only condition is taking it out.
So in my case, if I argue, forget 30th September as per circular, agar if I take 31st December, I can argue 2 years should be from
31st December.
But sir, I beg to differ there because here it's relevant dates. See, I agree, a refund, you are eligible for refund or it is on 31st December 24. That means you can apply refund after 31st December. But your relevant date will be January only when the goods actually left India.
So if you say
That is a strict rule.
no.
Scenario, if some scenario is not envisaged by the law, then I agree that harmoniously you
Even
have
if
to.
you see A, in the case of goods exported out of India,
Correct.
where a refund of tax paid is available in respect of goods. So your availability of refund arose in 31st December. So that means what we are doing is we are statutorily reducing the normal person gets 2 years. I am getting 15 months.
That is what I'm saying.
So therefore, in that case, you can take again if a normal person is getting 2 years. ऐसे तो हो सकता है my goods may be approved after 15 months, 18 months. So that way we can argue. Of course, डिपार्टमेंट के ये आर्ग्यूमेंट समझाना भारी रहेगा. बेटर है 15 दिन में ही डाल दो रिफंड. So that is not but you can argue that way. And maybe courts will give a
In case of
leeway.
sale on approval, we'll not have an invoice. We'll only have delivery challenge. Like in case of domestic.
Initially,
Initially. So filing refund, it may not be a.
So it will only come tax. See what department can say. Suppose now if you file only for December, in our example, department will come and say, no, your time of supply was September, so your December claim is not maintainable. You should have filed for September. So file a claim for all 9 months.
He'll say that it is a
That's
procedure.
उनका कौन है? अपील में जाओ.
Now coming to sixth issue. Here I have purchased the cotton in April 24 where the GST rate was 18% on that cotton. That cotton remained in stock till 30th September. On 1st October, the GST rate on cotton reduced to 12%. Then I applied for refund under inverted duty structure. So whether this is an inverted duty structure or no?
No,
Sir, why no?
it should be on the same date, both the things.
Sir, from where you are getting the same date, sir? Which section provides that thing, sir? Sir, I have read that circular states that link, the same day. There is a circular to this. This is 135 by 2020. We state that the same date should be, inverted duty structure should be seen on the same date. I see this red mark. It is noteworthy that input and output being the same in such case, though attracting different tax rate at different point of time, do not get covered under 89. And same example is there. X has been reduced to 12%. So this circular, sir, I agree that circular same the same date होना चाहिए. Law में sir किधर लिखा है ऐसा? Same day, same month. Sir, if you read plain reading of 54.3, no, where credit has been accumulated on account of rate of tax on inputs being higher than rate of tax on output supplies, except the supplies are nil rated or this thing. So rate of tax of inputs being higher than rate of tax, sir. So
That means you are claiming for opening stock.
Huh.
That day.
Only to that extent. Only to that
stock on
extent.
hand.
Only to that extent.
You will not get for the stock on hand. You
but sir, this accumulation, no? Accumulation of credit is there.
So take an example, you bought 10,000 units. Okay, rate was 18%. Out of that 10,000 units, you have 1,000 units as on 30th September. The sale rate now goes to 12%. So obviously those 1,000 units you are going to sell at 12%. So assuming you did not have any other operations, normally your ITC balance would also be corresponding to that 1,000 units. There will be a balance of 18% and your output is 12%. So normally if my rate would not have reduced from 18 to 12, there would no case of accumulation. But because my rate is reduced and output is 12, purchase even though not made on the same day or the same period, prior purchase, but that was at a higher rate. So can I argue this accumulation is on account of inverted rate? That is the only reason for accumulation.
There is another flaw with the circular because it implies that if the character of the product is same, then we cannot give you refund. Then you are not eligible for the refund.
Trader will not get.
हाँ.
Basically, they're like that.
Basically, they are saying only if there is manufacture we will give, which department is also following. But again, this section does not say कि trader को नहीं मिलना चाहिए.
Correct.
अलग होना चाहिए. The goods purchased and the goods sold have to be.
Is it available for the works contract?
Works contract में you can get inverted.
Sir, because output supplies लिखा है, they are not written inputs. Output.
Output goods ऐसा नहीं है. Output goods और service दोनों covered.
दोनों covered है. Output
Inputs have to be goods, but output can be goods.
But normally you used to get when earlier works contract was at 12% or वो अब तो majority works contract are.
अब तो सब 18.
But in this case, there are 2-3 practical issues also. So first we conclude whether it is inverted or not. आप ना बोलेंगे तो हम issues discuss नहीं करेंगे. हाँ बोलेंगे तो हम issues discuss करेंगे. तो ऐसा है. मुझे पहले inverted है कि नहीं सर अभी ना बोल रहे हो. तो आप बोले सर मैं तो बोल रहा हूँ नहीं है फिर भी आप बताए जा रहे हो. ऐसे नहीं हाँ. So whether it is inverted, yes or no? It is. So we can go for refund. We can go for refund. So we advise the client, he goes for refund. For what period he'll file the refund?
On the date of purchase or on the date of sale.
I don't know how does it go. You can club
formula.
You can club here the period, right?
We can club. I think so. We can club.
Sir, we can club.
Yeah, we can club.
18
What was the intention of law?
The intention of the law was they have to give refund of accumulated credit, accumulation on account of inverted. So in this case, there is an accumulation on account of inverted. There is definitely an accumulation.
No, it will be injustice if on that same day, different rates are there. Means it will not refer to opening stock. Goods out of stock.
But if my opening stock sale results in accumulation, should I not get the credit? They have not defined the only definition is they are comparing rate. They are not even comparing tax amount. They are comparing rate. If they compare tax amount, obviously value addition है तो tax amount से ही unutilized होता है. Now it is so if rate is there, principally when what is inverted because of my government says because of my actions you have accumulated credit. Otherwise you are doing your business at profit. Normally it should not be accumulation. But because I am not able to identify your input output and not keep it at same level, you are getting accumulated credit. And therefore I am giving you that benefit. So there you can take accumulated.
Sir, only challenge
and
would be.
This will be helpful अभी जब अगस्त में rates कम होंगे यहाँ बढ़ेंगे.
Sir, only challenge would be net ITC shall means input tax rate availed on inputs during the relevant period.
So now once we come to practical challenge, now of course legally it is entitled. Now I have to file a refund claim. Okay. If I file my refund claim from October onwards, my ITC amount which I availed from April, I cannot claim. If I file my refund claim from April onwards, I have to take my total turnover. So it may not lead to refund. That is one factor. Second, as on 30th September, did I have that much ITC? जो accumulation, because department can say कि आपका 18 में से 12 में accumulation तो इतना ही है. You had a balance which was higher than accumulated. So I'll not give you refund of that. So if you, even if you are entitled, it will be only you identify one to one, kitna value addition pe bhar diya hai is goods ka, and then only I'll give you. That is a more logical thing to get. But of course, department, if we apply formula or they apply formula, उसमें क्या होगा, they can also say कि आपका inverted rate चालू ही 1st October से हुआ, so you cannot file a refund claim prior to 1st October as inverted rate.
But again, there we can use Pitambara books and say कि the timeline need not be the
Correct.
same.
So because of your, because portal, because you did not give something like 89 4B in inverted, and therefore because of your portal, I have to make this. Otherwise, if you had given me actual, I would have just given you the calculation. So that argument we can take. But this may be helpful when this rate changes, which they are contemplating.
See, in your example, there is a time lapse. Okay, now suppose many times तो रातों रात rate change हो जाता है.
Correct.
तो अगले दिन मैंने purchase किया वो 18%
Same
रहेगा.
month.
Next day I have to sell it 12%. So that scenario you are saying that you will be
You can
eligible.
try, conceptually you should get, circular is against, so you'll not get at lower level.
Yeah.
You'll not get it, but if it is, anyways it is getting accumulated, worth taking a try.
Practically तो margin अगर थोड़ा भी reasonable है तो आपका accumulation
हाँ, depend,
ये आपको बहुत रेट में फर्क हो गया तो पॉसिबिलिटी है ना, आपका 18 से डायरेक्ट 5% हो गया रेट.
मार्जिन बहुत छोटा है तो प्रॉफिट.
हाँ,
2-3% मार्जिन को ऑपरेट कर रहे हो तो 6% ऑब्जॉर्ब नहीं होगा.
now coming to 7th question.
Now this inverted, say there is a trader, who is not a trader but he is a repacker. He buys in bulk and repacks and brands it and then in his own name and sells it. So is he entitled for inverted? The goods are the same.
But normally rate won't be different, sir. Normally.
Rate is not different, but because of the packing material and other imports, which is at 18%, these goods is at 5%.
Packing goods.
So same rate है दोनों.
Output सब
Output दोनों
then input और packing material 18 पे तो
मिलेगा.
पैकिंग मटेरियल का ही लूंगा ना मैं, पैकिंग मटेरियल मेरा 18 पे तो
मिल रहा है
उतना मिलेगा, उतना मिलेगा.
हाँ, पैकिंग
मटेरियल 18 है, लेकिन अगर वो पैकिंग जॉब वर्क पे दे दे तो नहीं मिलेगा.
तो सर्विस हो गया.
पैकिंग जॉब वर्क करवाएंगे तो नहीं मिलेगा, लेकिन आप मटेरियल लेके करें. हाँ, मगर मटेरियल लेके मैं दूं तो आई कैन नॉट.
मिल रहा है, हमने तो लिया.
देखो, they have never gone on one to one देखोगे तो only trader will come, manufacturer will never come.
सर्कुलर बोल रहा ट्रेडर को तो मिलेगा ही, मैन्युफैक्चरर को ही मिलेगा.
We'll get.
So here the HSM code has to be shown.
हाँ, वो सब फॉर्म्स में है पूरा, whatever you are.
Yes sir.
And we change it.
That's what they want.
To change, it has to change.
They wanted that.
नहीं, same HSN also I think so we are getting. Plus को भी दे रहे हैं.
मिलना चाहिए ना.
मिलता है कोई issue.
But then HSM बोलते हैं.
So guys, it is already 7:37
चलो.
and
अच्छा.
2 questions are left.
हाँ. Yes.
So I think let the speaker and the chairperson give their views. If anybody has a contrary view, you can argue. Otherwise, let them give their views. Yes.
Here, one investigation was been carried on in December 2020. I have paid some amount under protest. Say, I have paid amount under protest on 1st Jan 21 during the investigation. Thereafter, show cause notice has been issued to me on 20th April 21, wherein demand was sought was 3 crore rupees, and the what I have paid under protest 2 crore rupees that they are appropriating. Sought to be appropriated. OIO was in past wherein demand was confirmed to 3 crore rupees and they appropriate 2 crore rupees. Therefore, I have gone into appeal, stating appeal on 15th May 25. Appeal was in my favor. So, I have filed a refund claim on 15th June 25. So, whether issue is whether that pre-deposit which I have paid on protest, amount paid under protest I paid on Jan 21, whether that would be hit by 2 years time limit or no. Precise question is whether amount paid under protest to which 54(1) will apply or no. Amount paid under protest. No.
The relevant date itself starts from the date of OIA.
हाँ. Suppose for example relevant date, हाँ वो फर्स्ट पॉइंट है कि relevant date जिस दिन मेरा ऑर्डर आया उस दिन से स्टार्ट होगा. तो वो कोई भी कारण से मैंने ना 2027 में रिफंड क्लेम फाइल किया 15 जून 27 में फाइल किया।
तो आप बोल सकते हो कि वो आर्टिकल 265 में बैठेगा नहीं तो मुझे मिला।
So you are saying that 2 years time limit will apply to this paid under protest.
A 2 years time limit, what law provides, 2 years time limit would be from the date of order. So in my case, I have received the order on 15th May, so I have filed on 15th June 25. So within 2 years. Suppose I filed a refund claim for that paid under protest and pre-deposit on 15th June 27. 2 साल के बाद मैंने फाइल किया. So whether I would be eligible for refund or no? In short, whether pre-deposit and protest, that 2 years time limit applies to pre-deposit, amount paid on pre-deposit and protest? No.
If it is
And
a
why, sir,
tax,
no?
Again, like sir said, Article 265, government is not supposed to retain any amount which is not a tax.
So, sir, how to interpret that any other amount paid to him under 54(1), they specifically told any person claiming refund of
or
tax,
any other amount.
interest, or any other amount paid by him. So, what is mean by any other amount?
It would be the amount deposited but not appropriated towards tax.
Penalty भी तो आ सकता है, it says tax
हाँ.
and interest or
Any other amount paid by him.
paid on such times or any other, तो penalty भी something like.
According to me, this any other amount takes late fees and penalty. It doesn't carry, because you have to read, you have to take the color from that: tax, interest, late fees, and penalty. Any other amount, sir. So pre-deposit and protest, according to me, 54(1) is not applicable.
Pre-deposit, so there is no
Pre-deposit
problem
तो
because
tax है ही नहीं,
pre-deposit
तो
it
वो
is
तो
not
इसमें
a.
आएगा ही नहीं.
Now, when you pay during investigation, they appropriate and they give. Whether it is voluntary, non-voluntary, ultimately it is not retainable by the government. So it's a deposit. You can take, but you will not get it up to tribunal stage because tribunal is a creation of statute. This has to be given under the special powers of High Court and Supreme Court, writ powers. So practically means if you miss this, you can argue that time limit will not apply to these cases of this. It's a deposit, but of course it will always go at a higher level. Principally, you should get.
Investigation में whatever you are paying, that is tax only. I agree that you are paying under protest, but the nomenclature doesn't
tax.
change. It is
It's
tax
tax.
only. So 2 years limit should, pre-deposit I agree, 2 years limit should not apply because it is not a tax. But whether you pay under protest or you don't pay, the nomenclature doesn't change.
But what you're paying is actually not a tax ultimately.
Forced to pay. When there is a so you will have to prove that I have not paid voluntary, I am coerced to pay. Because now there were so many judgments. DRC 4 is not issued. High Court is giving you refund today itself. It is not waiting even for the show cause notice or the order. They say you take your money back because you are coerced to pay. It is not voluntary. So that of course we'll have to prove that when I was paid, it was under threat or whatever. Therefore, this should be deposit. That is first. Now there are some variations in this. Now this is our normal query. Now let's take a variation. Investigation where you paid tax, interest, penalty. Are you going to get a show cause notice? Suppose you pay tax, interest, penalty. The बंदूक लग के भरवा दिया, ठीक है? So you're not going to get a show cause notice. Then what you should do?
File refund claim.
Go for refund claim. And say that it was not paid. So then investigation, you pay tax. The state officer is very smart. He gives you notice only for interest and penalty. And you win interest and penalty case after 3 years. Can you then apply refund of tax on this relevant date? Suppose you pay tax today, because relevant date is tax becomes refundable as a consequence of judgment. So I paid tax. So the state officer will say tax is paid. So I am giving you show cause notice only for interest and penalty. ऐसे भी होते हैं, बहुत सारे आते हैं. So you are contesting interest and penalty on the ground that tax itself was not payable. And you win after 4 years. So interest and penalty you have not paid, so there is no question of taking refund. Can you file refund claim after 4 years for the tax amount?
Yes.
Is that tax becoming refundable as a consequence of judgment?
Yes, because now they have said
No.
that tax was not payable, hence interest and penalty is not.
But that was refundable not as a consequence of this
So it
judgment.
is not consequence of the judgment. No, it is.
This is the consequence of this judgment.
No.
Because that tax was not, it was not.
They are not ordering that
Not
the
tax,
tax was
because
not
that-
payable because
That
it was
amount was
in
not the
question.
subject matter of the dispute itself.
They are not giving
But
order on that.
if, from what I understand, interest is an automatic consequence
So
of the tax.
take an example, you are paying tax and your High Court का judgment आ गया. This transaction is not taxable. So will you say this, I am applying refund as a consequence of that High Court judgment? तो High Court judgment से मुझे भी 2 साल मिलना चाहिए. किसी और एसएससी का जजमेंट आ गया.
वो तो
Then that we can take, no, that because they don't say consequence of which judgment.
Suppose I was paying tax for last 4
Yes,
years.
I understood your
Last 4
point.
years ना. तो मैं उस हाई कोर्ट जजमेंट से 2 साल आगे नहीं लूंगा, मैं पिछला 2 साल ले सकता हूँ.
Correct, correct.
लेकिन मैं ये नहीं बोलूंगा अब हाई कोर्ट उसके हाई कोर्ट जजमेंट से मेरा भी 2 साल देख लो.
So here, sir, the question is, जो High Court वाला है ना, if we see, the 54(1) says any other amount paid by him, and then the relevant date says any tax which becomes refundable. So it is refundable to me if
As a
it is paid by-
consequence of judgment or order.
So this judgment also या order जो भी है,
हाँ.
वो interest और penalty
So
का waive off करेगा
if
जब
my
tax
proceedings start with interest penalty and end with interest penalty, where is the determination of refund of tax? Basically, there is no question of this. But if the show cause notice said, yes, it is payable and now I am appropriating, then you can. But practically, to set this law, and there's one more point which I was just saying. We don't know. Suppose you win, and after 3 years you go to GST department. GST department, let's say you have come late. You should have come 2 years from the date of payment. So many cases we do simultaneously apply refund today itself. There's one more angle to this. When you go to claim interest under section 54, interest is from 60 days of date of application. So if after 4 years you make an application, department is going to give you interest 60 days after that order. Then you go to High Court and say, see, this tax was a deposit, government was using my money, please give me interest. So if you feel your case is good, you want to do one more litigation, file a refund application and continue litigation there also. So you will win here and get amount immediately there. That is
113 says na, that you will get refund from the date of payment of the deposit.
pre-deposit में 115 says from date of deposit.
Date of
Department will say pre-deposit is only mandatory.
20%.
So I'll not take, then again you fight that whatever I deposit is pre-deposit. Past में there was a circular in excise.
बोलता है at least 20%.
At least 20, हाँ पूरा भी कर रहा हूँ तो ये pre-deposit ही है. So then उसके लिए आप और एक लड़ाई कीजिए. या simultaneously practically you continue making refund applications. That is one this.
And sir, only one judgment was there. Jharkhand High Court, BLA infrastructure, wherein they stated that may make an application. No, that may make an application is directory, not a mandatory.
Not mandatory.
तो 2 साल के अंदर मुझे जरूर कंपलसरी नहीं है, shall make an application नहीं है, may make an application. 2 साल के बाद भी मैं करूँ ना, law provides me.
Application voluntary, 2 साल थोड़ी voluntary.
हाँ.
Application
This
voluntary.
judgment, that's why I wanted to bring this judgment.
Jurisdictional High Court भी नहीं मानेगा ये सब.
May make an application.
Supreme Court तक जाना पड़ेगा.
पर देखो ना कैसा देते हैं, may make an application को बोले may मतलब
You can do many
Tax
things.
उसके पास चले जाता सब कुछ ऐसा है.
yes. Last question. Last हाँ. XYZ is a हाँ. This is nothing.
Closure.
XYZ builder, he's a builder. He has accumulated IT of 10 crores. Now he wanted to close down the business. So whether accumulated ITC, I will get the refund or no?
As per law, no, but
Before
even otherwise also, earlier law also, I remember in excise also similar thing was there. And there were contradictory decisions even in the excise. So I think if you have closed down business and it's accumulated, in my view, from constitutionally, you should be eligible to take refund, not from the GST.
Only one section is there. The balance in 49.6. Balance in electronic cash ledger, credit ledger after payment of tax, interest or so and so. any amount payable under this sector rules made thereunder may be refunded in accordance to provision section 54.
Sikkim High Court judgment.
Sikkim High Court judgment. So Sikkim High Court states that you are eligible for refund even after closure of the business. No, you are eligible for a refund.
But that is for the cash ledger, not for the.
No, it's
Credit.
cumulative.
This is specifically.
This is special.
49.6 only they referred to.
And how you,
49.6 refer
how you can read the law? एक बार उससे 49.6 पे हम सी जो ड्राफ्टर होगा उसने क्या सोच के बनाया?
हाँ भाई वो लिख रहे हैं लेकिन अकॉर्डेंस विद
हाँ, so what the drafter of their section said, I'll give you refund, but in accordance with 54. So therefore your eligibility has to be linked to 54. High Court said 54 तो procedure.
Procedural है, हाँ.
Eligibility तो 49.6 में ही है.
Yes, sir.
फिर तो दे रहे हैं आपको refund. तो
54(3) में तो clear cut.
So therefore 54 when you make a section which is procedural and entitlement तो वो mix हो गया. So High Court says 54 तो procedural है ना. तो फिर वो procedure है उसमें entitlement आ ही नहीं सकता. Entitlement में तो पहले ही आ गया 49.6 में. But High Court relied on excise judgment of Slovak.
हाँ Slovak India.
Even Slovak अगर कोई deep में research करेगा, force department वाले को मत बताना. Slovak में tribunal में they applied at the time of closure. Tribunal relied on 3 judgments, and they said closure में मतलब cash refund is allowed of credit. Those 3 judgments में जो facts थे कि let's say somebody came investigation, I paid through credit, I won the case. After 4 years, I won the case, I went for refund. By that time my business was closed. So there the court said भाई अब तो इसको cash में देना ही पड़ेगा. ऐसे 3 judgments थे, उसको लेके स्लोवैक ट्राइब्यूनल ने बोला you are getting cash. स्लोवैक में ऐसा केस नहीं था. Then कर्नाटक हाई कोर्ट गया, उसमें भी उतना डीप में कोई गया नहीं और सुप्रीम कोर्ट में भी अपील हो गया. बाद में लार्जर बेंच एटीवी प्रोजेक्ट्स में ट्राइब्यूनल ने भी अपील किया. बॉम्बे हाई कोर्ट में गौरी प्लास्टिक कल्चर में they gave against. In that also the fact was he was giving exempted service, brand name नहीं है, डिपार्टमेंट से ब्रांड है तो उसने क्रेडिट लिया, क्रेडिट से भर दिया. जीतने का बोला अभी मुझे रिफंड दो. तो हाईकोर्ट ने ओवरऑल देखा जब तुझे क्रेडिट ही नहीं मिलने वाला था तो तुझे रिफंड कहाँ से मिलेगा. बट ऑफकोर्स वैसे नहीं लिख पाते थे क्योंकि लोअर लेवल पे उतना डिटेल में किसने आर्ग्यू नहीं किया था. तो दे सेड स्लोवैक विल नॉट अप्लाई और उसको रिफंड डिनाई कर दिया. ऑफकोर्स नाउ एटीवी प्रोजेक्ट्स सिस्टेट सेज बॉम्बे हाई कोर्ट इज नॉट गुड लॉ, Slovak is good law and this judgment also takes law. So अब तक टाइम है ले लो जब तक मिलता है जिसको.
Constitutionally you should be eligible to take refund, no?
So
Because
government cannot keep that amount.
नहीं, but why government is नहीं, there is a provision for lapse of credit. It is a property, no problem. But government is not saying, government is allowing you to use, na? You are stopping your business. Has government done anything to take away your right? You are doing at loss.
अगर मिलेगा तो भी कंज्यूमर
इनकम टैक्स में लॉस 8 साल के बाद हम ऑफसेट नहीं करेंगे. किसने कॉन्स्टिट्यूशनली चैलेंज किया है? सो देयर इज अ टाइम लिमिट टू एडजस्ट दैट. इसमें भी गवर्नमेंट इनफैक्ट यहाँ तो टाइम लिमिट भी नहीं है, आप कैरी फॉरवर्ड करो. हाँ, बट व्हेन यू क्लोज योर बिजनेस योर क्रेडिट विल लैप्स.
Negative balance in my credit ledger.
Negative balance in credit ledger.
Because of paid notes and I have closed the business.
हाँ.
Can I claim that refund?
That you can argue because then there is no tax liability to be adjusted and credit notes means supply is not made or you have paid excess. That you can try. That is on a different footing.
Incidence is borne by
Incidence को prove करेंगे.
Incidence prove कर दे करेंगे तो सर वो any other person में भी आई जाएंगे ना वो incidence
सामने वाला.
नहीं ये ना सर इन्होंने क्लोज डाउन कर दिया है तो
हाँ तो
सब
इनको
कुछ
मिल
Excess payment of tax में
वो आप कर सकते. वो डिफरेंट है ये जजमेंट.
ये हमने किया.
हाँ अगर वो एक्सेस पेमेंट में चला गया.
लास्ट क्वेश्चन आई नॉट टेकिंग
पेमेंट में भी नहीं जाएगा, एनी अदर में ही अप्लाई करना पड़ता है क्योंकि एक्सेस पेमेंट में दे
Ask you चालान.
वो मंथ वाइज एंड वो भी वहाँ पे चालान मेंशन
हाँ,
करना
चालान.
पड़ता है तो वो नहीं पॉसिबल.
Any
एनी
other?
अदर नहीं जाता.
last question there is one PG what tax they were giving the PG or 15,000 per person per room So, and they were not paying the tax, stating that I am covered under service of by way of renting of residential dwelling for use as a residence. So they are not paying tax. Investigation came. They told no, you are not covered under this exemption, and they made him pay 12% and 12%. So that person paid that amount under protest. Now after for which date?
After that notification.
Notification.
As is where is where.
After that notification numbers as in various basis, department told ki from particular date, I don't remember the date, 2024 some date was there.
24.
After that, if you are giving a room on a rent for more for less than 20,000, there is no tax on that, provided you give for more than 90 days. So he is fulfilling all the condition, and thereafter department came up with circular stating that as is various basis may, if you have paid the tax, you forget. If you have not paid the tax, we will forget that thing. So now this person has paid the tax under protest. So whether he would be entitled to refund, because there is specific provision under that, he will not entitled to refund. If you are already paid to the government, you will not entitled to refund. So in this case, whether he would be eligible for refund, and suppose he has not been paid under protest, he has already paid her. So whether he would be eligible again, there are two questions. One under protest, not under protest.
Constitutionally, so they should file the refund application.
So no, I have not.
That tax was never levied.
Tax was never levied on that supply.
It was
But
never there. in the
कैसे?
supply.
See,
But
they are
already
paid
there.
under protest, so they are not closed off. They are still fighting.
इसमें in this fact there was a subsequent exemption. ठीक है? Are we saying that exemption which they granted subsequently was also there earlier?
Yes.
It was there na, residential का तो था ही.
Residential
There was-
dwelling था.
Residential dwelling tha, there
Correct.
was always a, see, even if a PG, he is
Hmm.
staying in a residential house, it's always a residential dwelling only.
Hmm.
It is not
इसमें तो
for.
उसने हॉस्टल लिखा ना, वो जो एग्जेम्पशन एंट्री है
Accommodation.
Accommodation.
हाँ. Supply of accommodation
service.
So there were two entries, supply
Correct.
of accommodation and renting of
residential
residence.
dwelling for use as
As
residence.
residence,
Use
yes.
as residence. हाँ.
हाँ,
So now, therefore, in this scenario, you say I was already covered in NT 12 since inception.
हाँ, correct.
ठीक है? I was already covered. मेरे को तो भरना ही नहीं था. Whatever reason से मैंने भर दिया. Now a new entry comes, जो भी entry number आई हमारी, ठीक है? That entry में I am exempt. Future में तो I am exempt in that entry. Government says that this exemption which you have given in the past, we are not going to collect tax on this service. As if this exemption was there earlier. But if you have paid, don't come to me. I will not come to you, you don't come to me. If I am able to prove that I don't need this new exemption entry to prove my exemption, that means I was already exempt under entry number 7. Then this as is where is circular will not prohibit you from claiming the refund. Because of course this is circular, there is no bar in law. वैसे law में तो they have just power not to recover. They cannot stop refund like this. So if you are able to prove that I was exempt under the earlier entry also.
But
The
I
new
paid
entry-
in protest.
I paid in
To
protest.
avoid
New entry is
litigation.
not required. Suppose new entry would not have come, I would have continued taking exemption technically. Then I have a chance to take refund. It is better to file refund from 2 years from date of payment, practically if possible. So that is one scenario. But suppose a new exemption comes and government says no, earlier it was taxable. But now, or maybe classification में दे सके, we say flavored milk will come under so category. We know others are in the past, they have classified ABC. We are not going to collect any tax from them. In that case, you cannot say my earlier product was either exempt or at a lower date. So your entitlement to refund will depend on your entitlement to exemption for the earlier period. Similar happened for film copyrights. Oh, that once you give to distributor, industry was paying at 12. Government got a circular, it is 18. So as per government, it was 18. So therefore they said in future now everyone will pay 18. For the past, it is as is where is. But if I am able to prove that in the past it was always 12, then I can technically take refund. ऐसे that is the difference in my view.
I didn't got that last point. 12% was your.
12% everybody was paying.
Hmm.
As per government, your HSN was not A, it was B.
Huh.
B HSN had 18%.
Correct.
Okay. So government started giving notices, department started giving notices to everybody. Association went to government. Government said ये dispute है ना, तो जो 12% वाला है उसको भी 18 कर दिए.
Okay.
तो अक्टूबर 22 से दोनों 18 है.
18.
तो बोले तुमको जिस HSN में डालना है डालो, मुझे फर्क नहीं पड़ता. I am going to get 18. And for the past, I gave a circular that somebody has classified under HSN A, somebody has classified under HSN B. So either ways, if somebody is classified under HSN A and paid 12%, we are treating that payment as equivalent to payment of HSN B.
Correct.
So government gave a facility saying that I am treating A as B.
B.
Okay. But during this period, if some investigation went and that person paid additional 6% under protest, that person can claim refund saying that it was always HSNA. Government may feel it is HSNB, but strictly as per law, it was HSNA. And therefore, I should not have paid that 6%.
Okay. Got it.
It's more like an amnesty than an exception.
Yes.
With this, thank you everyone
Thank
for
you, everyone.
having this thing, and a special thank you, Vinod sir. Yes, given me lot of inputs in this, and he has also given me few of the case studies also. So,
Like Karan has done all the effort. Karan सिर्फ मेरा नाम ले रहा है इसमें. हाँ, तो नाम में विनोद है ना, उनके हंसते हैं सब लोग, इसलिए वो मेरा नाम ले. All efforts, all research has been done by Karan. ठीक है ना? So I have just helped in. We have done a joint presentation. बस, है ना?
It was excellent presentation.
Amazing.
So Vinod and Karan, we carry a word of thanks.
What is relevant date in case of Rule 87B? 1% on date of when I paid 1% extra through ITC or when cash paid through cash agent.
7B. अच्छा. Instead of paying 1%, you paid 2%.
At that time I paid 100% through ITC. After department audit,
हाँ.
they told me to pay 1%.